Can I ask you guys a question very quickly?
problems?
Grapevine UK. If one of us had to go to represent the podcast, from
To
what
represent the podcast.
we're going to be on the show. You know the type of things they talk about. You know the angle they come at it from.
Yeah.
If one of us was going to go and you were our manager, so you said, so you want us to succeed. It's like you might think this person's the funniest or this person's the best, but who would you say this is the best person to go on this show for that audience that they have?
I'm going to pick two people.
Go on then.
I would say for the sound bites, entertainment, and that kind of thing, things that might go viral. Yeah. Send Wahala. If you want someone that's maybe going to not damage your brand, don't send Wahala.
Don't send me. You didn't even pick somebody else. You just said, "Don't send me."
Yeah, don't send him.
No, but she's still sending you.
I'll send you if you want it to go viral and get great clickbait and all those kind of things. Definitely send him.
So,
so who's the second person?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, rodents and other small insects. Welcome to another episode of the Eloquently Saying Nothing podcast. This is episode number 76. Hashtag ESN pod. At ESN podcast on all your social medias. I am Stavros Boss. And in the room with me tonight, I have Big Wahala.
What's up? Big Wahala's in the building.
I have Simple Simon.
White on white, that's the tester. Black on black, that's the Tesla. See all these diamonds in this watch face. All that shit came from pressure. Call me King. Push.
Are you still on pushes?
Wow. I'm still.
You're still with Pusher, yeah?
Still with push.
That's nice. I'll let Jay Prince give you that call, boy. I ain't back in
Scary
it.
guy.
We have Mr. Wolf.
Yes, people, what's going on? Yoruba proverb today is, we eat with a friend because of pleasure, not because we lack.
What?
And what does that mean?
Yeah, foster friendships, people are more important than things.
Not my food, bruv. But anyway, carry on.
It's cool.
Well, I agree with that.
I eat alone.
Mm-hmm. So it's better to have friends and no house.
Well, I don't know about that. You know what I mean?
But if you got friends, then you always have somewhere to stay.
Hey.
No, just because I'm your friend doesn't mean you can stay at my house.
That's not my friend,
I
is
agree
it?
with that.
No,
That means you're just an acquaintance.
not really. I'll give you money to go to shelter.
Well, that's I've still got someone to live in,
But
innit?
you've probably digressed from the proverb.
Yeah.
Got a bit.
Well, you know, we have to test them. You know what I mean?
Proverbs are there to be debated.
Yes, of course. But before we debate, we will introduce our guests. They are from a competition podcast that we are here to crush. We only brought them here just to crush them into the ground.
Oh, wow.
No, they're from the podcast Colour Out of the Box.
Yeah.
And they are Mo
Hello, I'm Mo, one half.
and Jay.
Hi, I'm Jay.
Mo and Jay.
Yeah.
Mo and Jay, as in Ray and Jay. So tell us about yourselves before we get started.
So we do Colour Out of the Box podcast. We've only been going for about a year now.
A year and a
And
half.
yeah.
Almost, yeah.
And basically the podcast is just basically unfiltered conversation between friends.
It's very filtered, actually.
It's
not unfiltered.
Do you
To be
think
fair,
so?
I edit just a little bit, but it's normally just a conversation.
It's filtered, man. Let me put the actor who's not here on that podcast. Then you get some unfiltered conversation. Trust me. Big up the actor. He's not here today.
Big up that actor. He's acting somewhere and he's doing something that us lowly people can't be associated with. So he's just kept himself to himself. So you've told us about the podcast. What about yourselves?
Oh, okay. I wasn't prepared for that. I'm Mo. I love listening to other podcasts, hence why I discovered you guys. Live in London for most of my life. Nigerian born and happy. So that's it.
Okay. And Jay?
So yeah, I'm Jay, a Nigerian, not originally from London, but a Londoner by traveling, I guess. Yeah, living in London, living life.
London came up a lot. In that.
Yeah.
London's important, you know.
Where are you guys? Where are you from, and where did you live before? Well, we know that you're Nigerian, but where did you used to live outside of London?
Oh, so I used to live in Denmark.
Okay.
Yeah, moved to London 11 years ago.
There was
You
an
can
accent
slightly
there,
hear
innit?
her accent.
How many
yeah.
Nigerians are in
You can
Denmark?
tell. How many what?
How many Nigerians are in
Not
Denmark?
many, about 5.
That's a lie.
Now,
Somebody
since I left, maybe 10.
I
No,
don't-
I'm joking.
There's
There's a
Ni-
lot more. There's a
I'm
lot
assuming
more.
so. There's Nigerians everywhere. We always said
Yeah.
that Nigerians are everywhere,
Yeah,
You
they
find
are.
them
They
everywhere.
are.
including the moon.
Nigerian and the
Right.
Chinese.
How about you, Mo?
So I've kind of grown up in North London, but I also lived in South London for quite a while as well, and then came
Okay.
back to my senses and came back to North.
So you,
It's all right, we all make
so you've
mistakes.
always lived in London then?
That's what she said.
Well,
She said that
basically,
she was
from
outside
when
of
my
London.
parents came here when I was like 2 or 3 from
Okay.
Nigeria.
Claim that 2 or 3, man.
Okay.
If I was in Nigeria for 2 years or 3 years, I'm claiming
Oh,
it.
of course, I claim it. I claim
Well,
it.
You didn't just now, though, did
No,
you?
no. I claim it.
Okay.
I always
Yeah,
say,
we've both lived
Yeah.
in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And you didn't claim it either then, Jay?
No, because you were saying, where did I come from before London?
yeah.
How long,
Okay.
Yeah.
did you live in Nigeria?
Oh, for about 6, 7 years.
You schooled there.
Yeah, I
isn't it?
did secondary school there.
And where are you from in Nigeria?
Rivers.
Rivers.
My dad's Rivers. My mom's
You got
Yoruba.
Your dad is River and your mum?
Mum is Yoruba. She's from
Okay,
Lagos.
so you're both. And
Yeah.
Both my parents are Yoruba
okay.
from Ondo State.
Yes.
I heard some news about Yoruba today. Funny enough, is that it's just information that I like to collect and collate and digest, and then do my research later. Is that people are now saying, or some people saying, that the Yoruba tribe, is the first human race.
Come on.
Oh.
Come on. You get me? I don't know about that one.
300,000 years ago. You know, I got.
Wait.
So,
So they're saying
Adam and Eve
humans.
was Yoruba.
The first human was Yoruba, yeah. And I can't believe it happened.
The humans.
And the first
were
cheat
not
was
mid-
probably Yoruba as well.
The first cheat.
The first cheat.
The first everything then.
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know if that one's accurate though.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know.
I just heard it today. You know, I will co-sign.
Unless
it.
you find,
we'll claim it.
like Lucy's cousin or something out there. Lucy's like the Homo sapien. I don't know.
Yeah.
Trust me.
That-
Sorry, go on.
If you're a Christian, then you will believe in the Adam and Eve.
Yeah,
So
that's what I
yeah,
was
so
saying.
Adam and Eve, yes, as Mo
It's
said.
Adebayo, it's not Adam.
So what's Eve short for?
Huh?
Eve short for?
Yetunde. And you know Yetunde actually means like somebody's died and they come back. That's why they call him Yetunde. So somebody was there before. So at Rivers,
Yeah.
apparently you people make the best soup. That's what I've been hearing about
Really?
you. That's what I heard about Rivers.
Now the soup is
Rivers?
proper.
They have the best soup.
Rivers.
Yeah. I don't believe in soups anyway. I'm a Yoruba. We
My
deal with
dad didn't
stews.
cook soup, so I don't know.
You don't know.
Is he
My mum
is he
cooks soup.
Igbo Rivers or is he?
No,
is-
Rivers. Rivers are just rivers.
Them man is just them out here like that. But it's Rivers.
I love it. I love
Well,
it when
it's-
it's, when it's explained like
It's
that.
one of the small ethnic groups in Nigeria.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if I'm not mistaken, geography-wise, where it is,
It's,
Oh, it's in the Niger Delta area.
it's more
Yeah.
Igbo land than
Yeah.
anything else.
no, but it's
Yeah.
like
What's the language then?
around the
Efik?
side there.
No, it's Okrika.
Okay.
Okrika, that is second-hand clothes.
In Igbo, yeah.
No, Okrika that's what they call second-hand clothes.
Yeah, in the
But-
market.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a place. It's an actual place.
Look at this.
That's probably where they sell it. It's like a gig bread.
That's an actual place.
I'm learning.
All right. Okay.
Okrika.
So we've got our Nigerian geography here.
yeah.
We have
Lesson one.
history lesson where Nigeria was number 1. I don't know if even
I
me,
don't know.
if I'm gonna.
I'm
claim
claiming
that
it,
Yeah,
man.
I'm not
one.
sure. About
Okay, yeah,
that
all right. Because
That-
I'm
He
not
didn't,
even-
he didn't say Nigeria. He said Yoruba.
Europe, exactly.
I think
there was no
He was
Nigeria.
so specific.
There was no
It's
Nigeria.
very
okay,
specific.
All right, okay. Let's move on. Let's
I'll
move
send
on.
it to you, man. Anyway, I mean, I haven't done no research.
You know, you're
Yeah.
gonna read that. Anyways,
I know you would.
Mo,
Yes.
there was something you wanted to talk about from the list. I can't remember which one it was, so I'm just gonna put you on the spot and ask you to bring it up.
The Chimamanda interview.
Okay.
Our sister.
In fact, I might have to play this thing, but
Yeah.
go ahead. Talk the things.
Oh, so basically she was talking about feminism, and she was saying that to get the message across, it's important that it comes from other men, because men have a thing where they have to hear the message from other men to really take it in. And I agree with her.
All right, so we can hear it from the horse's mouth first. Well, not that.
She's not a horse.
Not that she's a horse.
Yeah, that's one person that
No.
people go for the trope, boy.
Yeah.
That's our sister, boy.
Yes.
That's our sister.
That's our sister,
All right,
all
so
sisters, boy.
let me play the clip here. She was on the
Trevor Noah show.
Well, it's not the Trevor Noah show, but
The
he
late
hosted.
show, the late show, innit?
But anyways,
With Trevor
The
Noah.
one he hosts.
yes, the one he hosts. Here we are. If it plays.
Child and saying, I'm going to raise a feminist. For many people, the immediate connotation that will come to their mind is, that means you're raising a daughter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But from reading your work, a lot of the work has to be done by men. Men need to participate.
Yeah.
Why is that so important?
Because men have to be on board. I think you can change women all you want. If you don't change men, nothing changes because we share the world, right? It's men and women. And I also think, sadly, that we live in a world where men are more likely to listen to men.
Oh.
It's true.
Wow.
He's on the Ghanaian there.
Oh.
You know what, yeah?
Hey.
That
The
interview,
realization.
that interview is really important. And the reason why I said that interview is really important, because I say at the moment, those two are the two, probably, right about now, two of the biggest voices in Africa that you've got.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
In the mainstream. Two of them. I'm surprised that they didn't. I haven't checked the interview yet. And it's a really important interview to check because he's quite open to discussion as well. So it probably be a good interview. So yeah, I definitely need to check that out. But going on that topic, I agree with him. I agree with her, sir, I should say.
All right.
See, I already said him. Like she was him that said it.
Yeah.
And it was her that said it.
Exactly. You heard it because he...
No, he made a mistake, man. So don't push yourself into no.
You heard it from Trevor Noah.
No, but I agree with her though, because people do say that a lot, and I think at times I don't know about with any of you, but I've had girls say that to me. I said that to you yesterday. You didn't acknowledge it, but now when your man's are saying it, that suddenly he's cool, and I'm like, well, I didn't think of it like that. I just when you heard you say it, I didn't say anything back to you.
Wow. So the feminist Wahala is saying that he doesn't listen to women. Wow.
I don't listen to anyone. So that's my point.
that is true.
I don't listen to anyone, so it's not a case of listening to women or men. I don't listen to anyone. So I get it, but yeah. I do think that there's times when a woman will say something and a man might not acknowledge it, and then after a man might say exactly the same thing.
Exactly, repeat it.
I don't know about it's repeated in the exact same way. It may say it in a way that men understand sometimes, and then the man will be like, "Okay, I understand in that way." No, because sometimes a woman will say to you, "I don't know. I don't know. I think that we should take the thing at the freezer, the fish at the freezer today." Yeah. And then a man might say to you, "You know what? If you leave the thing in the freezer all night, tomorrow he's gonna have a problem. So maybe it's best you take the thing out of the freezer."
So you needed a reason.
It's kind of the same thing, but the man's giving you a reason to take it out of the freezer. So then you take it out of the freezer, whereas the woman's just told you, "I think you should take it out of the freezer." And if you're the fighting person, you'll be like, "Well, why am I taking it out of the freezer for?"
So you're saying that men and women speak different languages?
Oh, they do.
They do.
Yeah.
Oh,
They do. And I think at times men can speak to other men in a way that other men can understand. But I also think that men just don't listen to women at times straight off because you expect the woman to be telling you something you don't want to hear.
Okay, Jay, do you agree with that? What's your view on this whole topic?
Well, I agree. I think you see it especially in the workplace where, you know, a woman can say something and especially in like a meeting or something and she's not listening to, and then a colleague of hers says the same thing, and then everyone's like, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go ahead with that.
Down.
Let's go forward with that." So it does happen. It does happen, unfortunately. So I think definitely men need to be, and then in terms of what Chimamanda's saying about men need to be on board with the whole, you know, equality or just gender equality and everything. Men need to be on board with that.
Yeah.
It can't just be women alone.
Okay, yeah. I didn't play the rest of the clip, but she basically said that we live in a world of men and women. For feminism to be prevalent, women can't do it by themselves. Obviously, men have to do it. So, Mo, your view on the thing is as well. You agree with what she's saying?
Yeah, I do. I think it's proven point.
You would agree with it?
No, but if it was different, then surely you guys would have listened to, you know, other women's complaints about inequalities, but it's not heard. So it makes sense that now the message has to come from other men.
I don't think it's not heard, you know. I think it's dismissed.
I don't think it's the same thing.
Yeah, I think
it's not. I don't think it's the same thing because it's again.
You're just mishearing me now.
No, it's a bit like when we talk about. It's a bit like when we're talking about with racism. Yeah. If I'm a white person and black people are constantly saying to me, we're subjected to this, we're subjected to that, but it benefits me.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna dismiss it because why am I gonna make myself more? How can I put it? What's the correct terminology I'm gonna use? I'm gonna put myself into a worse position to better yours. Why? What am I doing that for? I dismiss it, and that's what men do. Like, okay, so if we're gonna ask for equality, that means that as men, we're now gonna have to make them equal. That means that we now have to listen to them. That means we're now gonna have to maybe change the way that we do things. That means that we now have to do all of that.
I would say dismiss it is the wrong term. I would say that
men don't.
You don't act upon it. Well, go ahead, Mr. Wolf.
Men are not thinking that deep.
You'll be surprised what men think,
that we won't empower the women because it will take the power from us. I think when it comes to just listening to women, that's not going through their head. I don't think
in a large society.
I don't know, man. I'm talking about general chit chat conversation. You know what I mean? If a woman is telling a man something or something important, they're not running that through their head. But in terms of what was spoken about in relation to children. You know, I teach my son that he's 14 now, and I tell him that you are going to be responsible, or right now, you have got to take care of your younger sister and your mum. That is your focus. Obviously, you teach him proper life skills and what have you, and for yourself
Can I
to
just pause you?
What?
On another part of this interview, which is not being played now, she goes exactly the opposite
goes
direction
against that,
from
yeah.
what you're saying. But continue.
No,
But
that's fine.
she disagrees with you, and I'm always with him.
And you're always with what?
I kind of disagree with you a little bit.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
It's certain. Not. I just don't think that you should give responsibility to such a young person to be
look
saying that
after their
they
mum.
look after
Yeah.
their mum and then
Yeah.
Younger
for
sister,
me-
it's your
for-
job to look after the mum, innit?
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a way.
Obviously, but when I'm telling him that, there's not such a heavy burden on him. It's not like, oh my God, you know, that I have to take care of my mum.
You
But
don't
you're-
know.
that's what
I-
you're telling him.
But
though.
you literally are saying that.
Yeah,
Bro,
that,
there's a lot of men on road. They're out on road doing certain things, and in their brain they're thinking I have to look after my mum.
yeah, but it, you know, in the grand scheme of raising a child and the information that you give them, their type of upbringing and what have you, I think you're going into a different spectrum there. If you can see that a child is, I don't know, going left from what is normality or left from what is the right thing to do, I think that you could use that argument. But looking at my son and the way that he's been brought up and the people that are around him, we try to let him know and let him understand how important the women are in his life.
Can I ask? Do you have a daughter?
I have a daughter as well. Yeah,
What,
that's
so
what I said.
what's the message that you give to her in terms of, would you tell her to look after her mum
Yeah,
and
I
her?
would. Yeah.
So there's no difference really.
Whether there's a difference or not, my son is the oldest.
Yeah, which is fine. Like,
mhm.
if it's an older child, I understand that. I'm an older child, so I was given that speech as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
At what age?
What speech was you
that
given?
I'm, as the eldest, I
Yeah.
take
You gotta
care
take
of
care
all the
of-
other ones.
okay.
And
the children or the parents?
and look after my parents as well.
Okay.
Well, how old did you when they said that?
It's just kind of, it's one of those kind of like conversations where just like, when we get older, it's kind of inferred that I would take care of my parents,
Oh,
Yeah,
when they're
I-
old
I-
and
But
they
that's
can't bother to do
when
anything.
they're elders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And they can't really
look after
look after
themselves.
themselves. You kind of think that you have to take care of your parents because they take care.
But then
care
in
of
this
you.
context, what would you expect your son to do differently to, say, your daughter, in terms of like looking after his mum?
That's the question.
I don't think that there's much of a difference. I mean,
So if there's
raising the
no
eyebrows?
if
Yes.
there's no difference, then why do you have to tell him to?
I think, I don't know. I mean, I just believe that it's important from our perspective, me and his mum, we're not together no more, but it's important that he understands certain responsibilities.
So almost like
And-
the man of the house type thing.
It's a trap.
I'm asking
Mr. No, no, no.
questions.
That's exactly what I think he means.
That's what it sounded like to me.
That's what it
I'm not
sounded
there.
like
So
to
so
me.
Hold it down.
so if you have you haven't got an older brother,
No,
you're the oldest. If I
I
don't
have
know.
a younger brother though.
Okay, if you had an older brother in
Mhm.
this context, and your parents were saying, "Look, you got to take care of your younger sisters. You got to take care of your family.
It's a
Yeah.
You got to take care of your mum." What would your mindset or your thought be on that information
I
given
don't-
to your brother?
This would just be, it would be the same speech as was given to me as the older child. There's no difference in terms of sex.
Okay.
So as the eldest, you have a responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
But because you said I told my son,
Well, my
Yeah.
daughter's 8, so
Yeah, I
she,
understand.
she's not. She's still kind of.
She's old enough.
No.
she can do the
This
dishes.
is not a kind of conversation that I would have had with my son when he was 8. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So when my daughter gets older, it's a similar kind of conversation.
Okay, then.
that-
So,
that
all
I
right,
would
finish
have.
your point. You spoke to your son. You said, look after your little sister, look after your mum, and then what else? What were you trying to get to?
The point is just know and understand how important the women are around you.
Okay.
I didn't even
Okay.
say grandma, you know. Grandma didn't get no love.
Yeah.
Responsibility is only stretched so far, isn't it? For a 14-year-old. His mum
But-
and
but-
his sister
It's a
are in
bit
the house
much,
with him,
so
innit?
no.
But he, I mean, when it comes to his grandparents, my son and my daughter have got ultimate respect for them. You know, I noticed that. Furthermore, let's big up my dad today because he's 80.
Hey.
Wow.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
80 years old, man. He's done 8 decades, man. So let's large him up. But they've got real respect for them.
Happy birthday, Daddy.
Yeah, man. And they enjoy their grandparents and, you know, and the food and everything, especially the food.
They only enjoy them because they're liars. That's the only reason why they enjoy them.
They enjoy them because they get spoiled.
Yeah, because they're liars.
And that's what grandparents are there for.
Yeah.
Exactly.
to lie to children.
Simple.
Well,
Do you agree with the original question? You
Yeah,
sounded
true.
like, but what you want? What you want?
see, the thing is, I was listening to what she was saying, and I'm kind of like, I wanted to agree with her, but I haven't experienced that in my life. Like,
Because you're a man.
no, what I'm saying to you is, like, with my missus, I'll tell my missus something 3 years ago that I've hammered on about, and she's gone, yeah. And then 3 years later, she'll come back and say, oh, I was listening to this person, and they said that, and I'm like,
That's relationships, though, isn't it?
Yeah, because women do that as well, by the way.
yeah, like they do it all the time. My mum does it to me as well. Like, I'll tell her something, and I'm the kind of person that I like to explain something quite plainly to you, so you get what I'm talking about. And
You're Mr. Ambiguous, but anyway, sorry.
and
go on.
then she'll come back to me a month later or something, and then she'll almost say verbatim what I said to her, but somebody else said it.
So in your own personal life,
In my own personal life,
you've witnessed it the other way around.
the other way around.
But that's not what Chimamanda's talking about.
What's she
though.
talking about?
I think it's more to do with things with gender and
Yeah.
feminism and things like
This
that.
is not
So
like
this
just
is not
like take out the rubbish and
Yeah.
she didn't hear you. Or
No.
something like
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking
Yeah.
about like. So from what I understood, because you gave the example of being at work
Yeah.
and saying something, and then somebody else saying the same thing. For me, I'm just giving that same example. Like, I've said something.
We should invest in such and such in this area.
Yeah.
2 years later, I was listening to the news and they said investment in this. I think we should do that.
Yeah, that's the same kind,
Okay.
kind of things.
Babe, I told you. I told you. I don't recall you telling me that.
Yeah. Oh, did you say that? Oh, yeah, actually, I remember the conversation we had. But the way this person said it, no, they said exactly what I said to you.
You know,
Do you know why? Because I heard it from them. You don't like that?
you know what it is? Sometimes it's a case of the person that you're dealing with is somebody that you know so well that
You're
you
not
just
hearing it.
you just dismiss certain things that they say to you because you're like, oh, you're just talking again.
Yeah.
But that's why, isn't that a relationship thing? That's
Yeah.
more
I think
dynamic.
It is a relationship thing,
dynamic.
but I also think that men have that thing with women. Oh, the women are moaning. Oh, the women
Yeah.
are chatting again. Oh.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I think
Nagging,
when we're
nagging,
talking
nagging.
about key issues,
Yeah,
like, okay, we feel like we're being discriminated against, or, you know, we're talking about equal pay. I do feel like it's easier when you hear that from another man, that you maybe some men start to listen in, some men.
Make it more palatable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Or like treating women this way, like if
Is
a
a good
woman,
idea.
if a woman tells a guy, look, actually, you shouldn't talk to her that way. If she hears it, if the guy hears it from another guy, maybe
He's
it goes
more
down.
likely to.
it all depends on how it comes and who he's coming from. So this is the
I
thing.
would agree.
Well,
I would
no,
agree
if
with
it-
No, because
No, if it's
I'm agreeing
something
with Jay.
serious,
Let me
if
explain.
it's something serious, if it's like, hey, you know,
You was out of line.
you're going into like maybe consensual sex or whatever, that sort of area. That's something that.
Yeah, but we
if
know
you-
generally that men are rubbish at this kind of stuff, and I'm not saying that as an excuse. And the reason why I'm saying we know generally that men are rubbish at it, because there's something that always happens with a certain type of man. They live their life up until a point. Then they have a daughter, and then all of a sudden they understand
Their
all of this
clarity
stuff.
his.
Kanye West.
As
Do
a
they,
father,
though?
as a father.
Yeah,
But then you've had
They don't
sisters,
understand,
you've had
but they
a
have a
mum.
even
better-
if they even if they have daughters, do
even
they
if they've
really
had
understand?
sisters, even if they've had mums, everyone.
Yeah.
You know
No,
what I mean?
Yeah.
what they have now
Sisters,
is
aunts.
responsibility,
Yeah.
and that's what's making them think that way. Going back to what you were saying about, and what Stab was agreeing with you about, with regards to sometimes hearing stuff like that from a man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think people forget that men are very aggressive towards men as well, you know. So if you say to me, if I'm outside and I see a man talking to a woman in a way that I think is disrespectful, if I don't know that man and I approach him and say, hey, the way you're talking to her is not good, you know, that could end up being a fight there and then. So it doesn't always come a bit more
But
palatable
he's
from
more
another
likely
man.
to at least pause and stop, though.
He's more likely to pause and stop, but he's also more likely to want to get into a beef with you as well.
I would say that Jay, I believe Jay is correct in general. I think if a man has dismissed what a woman said, I'm not taking it into sexual things or arguing on the street, just even something in a boardroom or a pleasant conversation, even just between friends like we're having here, and a woman puts a point and a man says, all right, whatever, and carries on, and then a man later on says, you know what, yeah, either the way you dismissed her or what she said was valid and you just rubbished it. And I think a man is more likely to take heed to that. But saying that, I also do feel that even if a woman was to take a man aside and say what you said earlier on,
that's what
you know, because then you compound the issues. Like, well, one person said it, I'll dismiss it, regardless of whether it was a man or woman. Now that a second person has told me, maybe my ears prick up and maybe I have to pay a bit more attention.
I think that depends on the relationship that you have with the girl that's
saying it. Yeah,
that is as well. Yeah, because I'm a nagger, so I know that I'm a nagger, I'm a moaner, so people don't listen to me when I talk. I have the same issue. So maybe men see women as naggers and moaners,
and that's what
they treat me the same way as women.
As you should be.
I know. Sorry, Mr. Wolf, I cut you off. Sorry.
No, I was just saying that it depends on the relationship that you have with the woman. So I don't know if there's a pack of 5 people, and out of the 5 there's 2 women, there's 3 guys, and you are bona fide family type brethren. If one of the girls tell the guy to hold your horses or calm down, he's going to listen to her, regardless of what sex is.
With regards to that, with that conversation that you're having there, I think that you're right. I agree with you that a respect level automatically responds with regards to how much you're going to listen to somebody. I think that's how it comes. But then do you not think that men, when they're dealing with other men, they automatically have that respect level where they feel, one, you may be dangerous, or or it could be, I'm going to respect you as a man because you're a man. Same way I expect you to respect me as a man because I'm a man. One, because we don't want conflicts, and 2, men respect men.
I disagree with you,
I haven't even finished what I'm saying, so before you disagree with me.
I disagree with what you said. So.
All right, so and then
because you're a man, he's not listening.
And then I think that at times men don't necessarily have that same respect when they meet a woman. They don't have that automatic. I'm gonna respect you because you're a woman. I think men see other men, and they automatically either have the respect for them, but if they don't have respect for another man, it's evident. It's evident I don't respect you.
And just to be clear, it's not about agreeing, it's about just listening.
Yeah.
So you may listen to me and not agree with my point, but the fact is you've listened. I think what the problem is we have is you don't listen in the first place.
Ooh.
I don't know.
I think that's pushing it a bit far, I would say.
I think
don't hear the message.
Yeah, on the point of feminism, this is what she's talking about.
Yeah, on that point of feminism.
Exactly.
If a man is giving that information to another man, I agree wholeheartedly that it has a bigger impact.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And that's her whole point.
And our feminist is Wahala here. No, but you are, bro. And I won't lie, men who have listened to the podcast have heard you and your views, and it's made them think a little bit differently to perhaps what a woman would say.
Exactly.
Well, first of all, they would even go to a woman's podcast. They might not even listen to a woman's podcast to get that perspective.
That's a very closed-minded view.
No, if we're talking
I listen
about
to your podcast.
But if let's say the podcast is about black feminism or something,
yeah.
Would you listen to that?
Of course.
Okay.
I hear you women just moan about nothing, but you know.
You see, that's what I'm talking about. Right. That's what I'm talking about.
You black women can't take a joke, you know that, man.
So my thing is now.
That's a question. That's a podcast. Whatever.
The quandary that I've got now is the female plight for black men to listen to talk about feminism?
Whoa, when it comes to black men.
Just men. Okay, I don't care about the rest of them. That's why
I'm fed up of being victimized this year, man. This year we've got it.
I don't care about anybody else.
I think we need to talk about that later as well.
I'm talking about the community because I don't care about anybody else.
Okay then.
So, is this
racist?
You non-blacks can fast forward a few minutes, yeah.
Whatever. So no, but my thing is, are we now in a place where the feminist or the female who's trying to explain feminism to a man is in the same position as a black person trying to explain the racial oppression and all the rest of it to a white person?
Yeah, that's always been the case. Yes,
that's what I said. Remember I was saying that earlier.
So all she's saying is
we don't listen to you.
All she's saying is that we need advocates. So
okay,
you know,
this word advocate. All right, we're gonna move on because
can we segue into something from that?
We've only got advocate. This guy here.
What is it?
It's actually on the list.
Go on.
Because obviously we were talking about how feminism is and people not listening to women and such. So somebody actually put in a question, which I think is quite prevalent to this discussion that we're having here, which is to do with rape cases.
Okay then. So I'll do it verbatim. What they sent in. So this the first one was sent in.
Is this from a guest?
This is from a listener, not a guest.
No, it's not from us. No.
So I sent out the beacon earlier on saying we're recording what the people want to talk about. So somebody said they wanted us to discuss false rape allegations and how it affects the supposed suspect, coupled with the Me Too movement. Now, to be honest, to save this person, I don't even know if I want to couple it with the Me Too movement.
I don't think you should.
I don't see what the correlation is, apart from the fact. So I'm just, to save my own skin and your skin, I'm just going to leave that bit out, yeah? But in no way am I saying all rape allegations are fabricated. I'm just saying that some are false and could potentially ruin lives. Brian Banks is the most recent news article on this topic. So I don't think it's the most recent one, but Brian Banks was he was a high school student, was on his way to being a big time player in a sport. I think it's NFL. I'm doing this off memory. So he had the potential to be in the NFL. He got accused of rape, and this is a few years ago.
I think it was like 2012 or something like that.
Eventually, after he got done, he got sent to jail, and after some time, the woman, for some reason, admitted that she made up the story, and then she's had to pay 2.6 million or something along those lines in I don't know whatever.
Because she also sued the school as well.
She sued the school that she alleged got raped in.
She admitted.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
the guilt sometimes gets you, Every time you spend that guilt.
So that's right off the bat. That's an exception, though, isn't it?
That is the exception, but the
exception in what way?
The question is,
an exception that's
the woman is admitted.
The woman is admitted that the claim was false.
Okay. So what do you think should happen with? Well, let me see what it says. And how it affects his supposed suspect. So I was going to ask what should happen to the women that have admitted to rape, or women that have accused somebody of doing rape that haven't done it. But the question actually is, so let's try and stick with what they asked. What do you think? How do you think it affects the person who it happened to, who was sent to jail, or who has been alleged to have proposed a rape?
So did he do his time and then he came out?
He done some time. Let me read the article whilst you lot is talking, and then I'll tell you actually with some confidence.
It's devastating, isn't it? Obviously.
Yeah, it is.
It's a serious trauma.
Yeah.
Very.
I don't know if you can. Yeah. This sounds weird, but I don't know how you, especially within this time. If it happened pre-social media and all the rest of it, slightly different. But within this time now, like, you have no safe haven.
No.
Like, I can't imagine that you're going to be able to do anything online without bumping into the story of you being accused for this thing.
People search your name for jobs now as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So immediately you search your name for jobs, they're like, boom.
And his name would have been in like the newspapers and everything.
Everything.
So imagine if he's dating someone, she's gonna Google his name
and the thing that's so terrible about this is that even again, especially for these cases, even when it's turned out that you were wrongly arrested, wrongly imprisoned, and it's like there is never a situation where the stigma of this rape actually leaves your name. It never leaves your name.
That's why some women do it, because they know that you always stay with you.
You're
matter
finished.
What happens.
Yeah.
That is it. You're finished. It doesn't matter what you do after that. You're
done.
You can
could have video evidence of you not doing it. That could go viral, but that stigma will still stay with you. Like, there was that question though. There was that question of being asked.
Your name comes up. Oh, is that the guy that was accused of rape? Do you know what I mean? And it's like it just never leaves you.
Yeah.
I don't see the way around coming back from that, and that's why it's so dangerous.
How do you date again? I don't think I would be able to date again. I wouldn't even want to be in the same room with a woman that, unless I trusted her completely, because in the end, any woman could do that to you. I'm not saying that it's not something that women do often, but any woman can do that.
And that's the thing. This is quite a rare occurrence that someone is convicted of some, in terms of rape, and they didn't do it. Yeah. Because if you look at on the other side, in terms of how many rape cases go unconvicted, where the person actually did do it. Course. Yeah. So I just wanted to.
No. We know that.
I'm not overlooking that at all.
We're not talking about that.
Okay.
I'm not overlooking that at all. And I'm not gonna do like try to do side by side comparison, but I think there's something particularly awful about being accused of something that you actually didn't do.
Yeah.
And, well, not even accused of something that you didn't do. Rape in particular.
Rape is a whole other
It's
level.
one of those things that, to be accused of that and you didn't do that, is like...
I'm going to be completely honest.
It's been... sorry, go on. If 5 or 6 years
if there was no conviction involved, I would rather be accused of murder than be accused of rape. Depending on who's being murdered.
And that's how... Yes.
Depending on who's being murdered. If somebody said to me, you had to choose between saying that you've raped a woman or you've killed a man...
Yeah.
I'd rather people think I've killed that man than
to be honest, yeah, probably that's better.
Because there was a sorry, go.
No, I was gonna say because it gets even worse because when you go to prison for like rape is one of the things that they look down on. Yeah,
even in prison.
And even in prison,
yeah,
particularly look down on it if it's children, but they still have so rape people who go in who convicted for rape get special treatment in prison. And when I say special treatment, I don't mean a good thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying to you? So imagine you didn't do it.
So that's harsh.
Okay, so this dude, he served 5 years and 2 months in prison.
Long time.
Yeah, as a plea bargain. So I don't know what you plead to, but
he must have just said he did it.
Yeah, because
to get
clearly,
less, to
yes.
Get less.
So for those of you who don't know the legal system, if you're accused of doing something and it looks really bad on you, and your own lawyer saying you are not going to get out of it, if you say, "Well, I didn't do it," and you get done, you'll get much more time than if you say you did do it, and they say, "Well, fair enough." If you admit to doing it, we'll cut down your potential thing in half.
Was
or
it
whatever
white
it is. Yes,
of course it was.
That's why.
So Banks he's a black man, so he now plays
that's why he did the plea.
He now plays for the Atlanta Falcons, Dirty Birds. That's my team.
Oh, so he got
a job.
This was 2002. He got out in 2006, and then he was still young enough to play. So he plays for Atlanta Falcons now.
The exact same thing. Well, mirror kind of situation happened with a footballer called Ched Evans.
It's not mirrored, bruv.
Okay, let me just explain the story. So Ched Evans was accused of raping a lady. He was imprisoned for, I can't remember, about 3 or 4 years. He got out and then he tried to get a job. His profession is football. And there was a campaign about him not being allowed to get the job because he was convicted of rape. So he went through a process of an appeal, and he subsequently won the appeal, and he's now playing football again.
But was he not guilty?
He was found guilty, but then the appeal throughout the case. So he was.
So he didn't do it.
So he was acquitted. Yeah.
No.
Because I'm not familiar with the story.
That doesn't sound right.
The story is a very murky story because what happened, and it happens, and this is the thing I have a problem with because it probably happens every Saturday night somewhere in London or somewhere in Newcastle or somewhere thingy. He went out with a group of friends. I think one of his guy friends had a girl. She was blind drunk, couldn't remember anything.
Okay.
Basically, blind drunk. He took her to the hotel. He had sex with the girl, right? And then Ched Evans then came in after and then had sex with the girl as well. And then left.
There was a bit of uproar with this one because during the case, the lawyers allowed them to discuss her sexual history.
Yeah.
And because
I think I remember
maybe she was,
case.
I think because that was the thing. She was maybe a bit promiscuous, or she had nights where like drunken one night stands or whatever in the past. So once they brought it up, they said, "Look at the history of this woman."
So is that why the case was?
No, I don't know the exact reason why the case was brought to an appeal. Do we know?
He bought it. He
bought money. He had money in it, so he used his money to try and get an appeal.
But then I don't think that's
he didn't get off
to
because of
this
his money.
situation.
But not everyone's got money to appeal. Some people without every day.
But that's besides the point. It's whether he done it or not.
It sounds like he did, so he was convicted.
But I think it's not comparable because in this situation, the previous one, the woman said it didn't happen.
Yeah,
so there's no.
This woman's not saying it didn't happen.
Whereas this is a different situation.
That's why we're saying that it's a special case because the woman has actually said to
there's evidence to say that definitely the person hasn't done it. I don't think there's enough to say that this person.
I think there was video evidence of them going into the hotel together.
Yeah, but there's enough evidence.
But there was enough evidence to convict a rape as well.
Can we establish that once to convict somebody, you're meant to do it? Like I've been in a jury. I don't know if any of you have been in a jury before. They tell you that you have to be sure. Like if there's reasonable doubt, that's where the term reasonable doubt comes from. Then you can't convict somebody. You can't, or you shouldn't say they've done it. So what happened was in the first case, as far as they were concerned, there was enough of the causality. There was enough stuff in what they was told for them to say yes he did it, or for the majority of the jury to say he did it. Once they started bringing up her history, she's done this before, or she's had prior where she's had sex with men before, where she's been drunk before, that is when reasonable doubt is now put in your mind.
Yeah.
If she's done this XYZ before.
Is that the reason why they threw out the case?
Yes, because now, all right, and I'm gonna be straight up with you.
Do you know that is the reason?
Well, I'm going to assume that is the difference because it wasn't in the first case and it was in the second case. So I'm gonna ask you people here now and just be straight up with me. A footballer, goes into a hotel with a woman. Later on, they say that she was raped and blah blah blah. Now you know this case, but it's come to you as a second time around. He's appealed. Now, in this appeal, you're a part of the jury. You hear what the original people heard, but you also hear that she has done this 2 or 3 times before. Not where she said she's been raped, but where she's gone into a hotel with a man, blind drunk, had sex, and it wasn't an issue. Does that taint your view on what happened with this dude?
Me personally, no.
No.
So
absolutely
Mo and Jay are saying no?
And I agree with them. I don't think that is the main reason. I can't remember because it was quite.
No, you don't have to defend anything.
I think it was. I think some of it was that, and also I'm sure there was video evidence that they started to bring in as well. But I can't remember 100% sure. But either way, I still don't think that there's enough to say that.
Okay,
I'm not backing this guy in any way, shape, or form.
No one say. Let's just use him as an example then.
But you're using him as a wrong example.
No,
because
I'm not using him as a wrong example. We're talking about someone who's been accused of rape and didn't do it. How do society look at them, right?
No, but we don't know he didn't
do
do
it. Because it's one.
According to a court of law.
No, but the woman
the
hasn't said, "Oh no, actually, I made a mistake here. This was consensual."
But the court also said that
so
he did do it the first time
round.
and it said that it hasn't.
So the
we
woman
don't know.
hasn't said he hasn't done it.
Yeah, but the courts on their records it will say that he has been acquitted.
But also
of
on their
rape.
records,
Yeah,
they will say.
Well, it
No,
doesn't
no.
matter. But she has
They
not said
throw the
that's.
case out.
But she hasn't said that he didn't do it.
I think this one is a bit.
Yeah.
It's a bit
It's
of
different. No, it's different because
different.
the acquittal has nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
Whereas
exactly.
the first case, she came out and said, "You know what?
he didn't do
He
it.
didn't do it."
Yeah, I understand the two differences, but in most cases we've already come to the conclusion that a woman is not going to come out and admit that the person didn't rape them. This is a special case. So most cases the woman is going to say that she's been raped and she's going to stick to her story. Yeah. So we are now saying if a guy has been accused of rape and he hasn't done it, whether one case is he's been sent to prison, he's been convicted, and then he's been acquitted, or in that specific court one time he's been acquitted, I think both men are looked at the same way.
And unfortunately, we can never know. That's just the thing.
But
so
I think I get what you're saying.
You get me,
yeah, because
okay.
if it was say another crime and you was found not guilty, then we should move on and forget about the previous court judgment.
But the thing is, we say that, and we say that in normal conversation, but in reality, our society isn't set up that way.
Yeah.
No.
Like as soon as you've had these infringements, like they live with you. For some people say it's for a certain period of time, depending on the crime, like it's registered for up to 5 years or what have you. But generally speaking, this idea that you're innocent until proven guilty, and then even if you are proven innocent, just because you were in that section of the law, your future is tainted by that.
As going back to Waha's original point, I think with rape, there's just that
a special
kind of
stigma. There's a special stigma.
Yeah. So it if you're accused, it is going to stay with you. Even if it doesn't even go to court, I think it's...
And
there's
unfortunately,
the
man will carry more stigma than the woman, even though she's come out and said, I was wrong. Unfortunately, that's how it is. I think in this case,
because she has said that she lied, then he kind of... The stigma will go from him, but where there is any doubt...
I don't think it will.
I think it will. I think it will. Like, the way I'm looking at him now, I don't look at him as a rapist.
And also, I think they're prosecuting the woman as well, and she's been sued. So
I think it's almost the worst case scenario of this, and it's not rape, but it's the Emmett Till thing.
I was thinking about that.
Oh, that's completely different, though.
Yeah,
that's completely different.
Well, you have to explain the Emmett Till situation for people that don't know.
Okay, so Emmett Till was a young black man. He was a teenager.
14, he was
14.
Teenager. He wasn't a man.
Yeah, 14-year-old boy. In I don't know what type of America, what age, what years about.
So he was actually from Chicago, went to visit his family in Mississippi. Walked into a shop, just like a food grocery shop back then in Mississippi. I don't know what happened. Nobody actually knows what happened apart from what the white woman said.
She said that he looked at her or something, or he whistled
at
her.
No, not that he that she said that he looked at her funny, but also that he grabbed her arm, that he tried to rape her. So she took it to.
He didn't get to that level. It wasn't even that far. If he just said that he whistled at her, something so basic like that.
But that's what she said in court. That's what she said on the stand.
Oh, okay. So
and then afterwards, she then said
he did nothing.
She told her lawyer when they were having a personal conversation that she just didn't like the look of him. He just didn't like the attitude that he gave off.
Decades. Well, because we're missing a major part of the story. So she's accused this dude of doing something. They then turn into like Nigerian style street justice. This
is like lynching.
Okay, so they lynched this dude. They chained him up to a car. They dragged him along on the street. They hung him up. Sorry, what did I call him? Child.
14-year-old boy. Yeah.
So basically, they killed him.
Yeah.
The mother asked for an open casket during the funeral because she wanted to see what people had done to her child. And so you can find that picture on the internet. It's very harrowing.
It's a very long time ago, by the way.
So this was in the 40s or 50s. I don't know. But on this woman's deathbed,
she died.
She died recently, and on her deathbed is when it was revealed that
she was lying.
She lied. So this is a couple
funny.
of years ago.
She said, well, what she said on stand was completely inaccurate. That wasn't true, but she doesn't remember what happened.
See, that's the one.
That's the guilt that she was living with all that time for her to actually say it, because there's no reason she could have just died and left. But she said it on her deathbed because
she was trying to get into heaven.
Who knows?
Well, actually, because I just listened to a podcast about this a few days ago, and she actually had an interview with a man who wrote about the Emmett Till case. So it wasn't actually on her deathbed. She just had an interview with him, and then he put it in a book.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, so the reason why she decided to come out and talk about it is because everyone that she was protecting, all those men in her family, they were all dead. Yeah.
See?
But at the same time, I'm like, why didn't she remember what happened?
Can you see how white women stick together? How they hold down the white man? She waited for them to all die before she told the truth.
So are you saying black women don't look after black men?
No, I'm not saying that.
Well, let's go back to the original question. So then, as of somebody that's been accused of rape and all this stuff, now you got to live your day-to-day life on a day-to-day basis. Like as Simple was saying, back in the day, you may have your local area might know you as the local rapist. Now on social media, people will bring you up. Your picture will be up. They'll send it around. Everybody in the world where you're going will be known as whoever the rapist. Blah blah blah. And then it comes out that you haven't actually done what's happened.
Damage is done.
Did that same thing go viral?
Of course not.
So what would you suggest to be the solution to that?
I don't know, but I think those people are the people you have to look up for on the suicide list, because in the end, their life is finished.
Yeah,
their life is finished.
Man's doing a segue.
I beautifully did it, but yeah.
All right then. So I think we've answered the gentleman's question. I hope we answered that for you. It's just something I think that's happened since the beginning of time. People lie. This is another situation where people can lie, and unfortunately for the men,
lives are ruined.
Yes, in that situation.
What's the justice for the women though?
There is no justice at the moment. But I think
she'll be paying for it financially for the rest of her life.
In this one case, you know, the woman.
Yeah, but she's not paying him back. She's paying the school back.
She's paying him back.
It's him.
She's paying.
I thought she's good to the school.
Probably both of them.
Both.
Yeah.
She has to pay for lawyers. She has to pay for the time they took in court.
But if she's not rich, how are they going to get the 2 points?
You just get as much money as you can. Saying to the original thing that he added there, I'm with Stav. You have to distance yourself from saying anything to do with the Me Too movement is a good thing. And I think sometimes people are out there thinking... I don't
think you can have this in the same conversation.
Yeah, I don't think you can. And I think sometimes people are assuming that this Me Too movement is going to cause a whole heap of people just bringing up lies. And what we need to, especially as men, need to understand that just because it's coming out 10 years later, just because it's coming out 15 years later, 20 years later, doesn't mean it was a lie. It just means that they feel confident enough now to say what was a problem. And even then, 15 years ago, something that may not seem to be a problem then, maybe now it is a problem.
I don't think it's that. The whole point of Me Too is some women have come forward, which has empowered other women to say it's happened to me too. Literally, that is it.
Yeah, but there's men out there are saying, well, why didn't you say this before?
Because we didn't feel safe. We didn't feel empowered. That's why they're saying it now.
Yeah, there are also women coming through, either coming with things that aren't true.
Yes.
Or they are, or things that are just like they're so lele, like that situation with the Asian comedian, where the consensus was, well, I'm going to say that maybe she's putting herself in an arena that she doesn't
deserve to be.
Yeah, that she doesn't deserve.
Who was that? Sorry,
the Aziz Ansari one.
Oh, that one.
So Aziz Ansari.
Well, no, he didn't pick up the cues. He had, so he's definitely.
It wasn't. But I agree. It wasn't sexual misconduct or rape.
So
well, but still, he didn't pick up cues.
We disagree on this.
But he's Indian, so he's from a completely different culture.
Okay.
What do you mean?
What she's got? What?
I don't know if you want to say that.
That is of no relevance whatsoever.
Oh no, it's very relevant.
And I speak English.
What are you
It's
talking
very relevant
about?
because culturally,
There's a culture there.
picking up cues, cues of what's the word? Affirmation or cues of encouragement differ based on culture, and I mean that sincerely.
Really?
Yes. In India, they
Don't
say
say
no.
really.
No.
In India, they say
He's
no,
Ameri-
and they're putting yes.
No,
Do you
no,
know what
no.
I'm saying to you?
We're talking about an American here.
Nah,
He's
cool.
American.
No, I'm giving him the
America.
blind.
He's American.
I'm giving him the
Okay.
blind.
Let me give you.
Don't give him.
Let me
that
give you an
card.
example
No.
of kind of what you were saying just a minute ago. Not to go too far, but I was at the butcher's yesterday buying meat from the Muslim man. Them, yeah.
Clearly.
They got the Muslim man there, the butchers. So there was one guy.
Ramadan
One guy that's blatantly Nigerian, Yoruba as well, because I could hear him saying to the woman, "No, Wahala, just give me the number." Apparently, he goes up and down, trying to chat up girls, and the girls are just like, "No, leave me alone. No, thank you."
Well, he's trying to sell meat.
No. This was a random guy that just walks past the butchers all the time.
Okay.
So the butchers are seeing him all the time. So the butcher was like to me, "Did you see that guy? He's trying to talk to women again. Does it every day, trying to chat to these girls." And he's like, in my country, he's Pakistani, goes, in my country, could never get away with it. The girl will just slap him and the police will take him and they'll do something to him. But in this country, he can get away with it because the police don't look at it as something that's a bad thing. So you can see how the different... He's seen at different cultural levels and different things. When he said it to me, I was looking at him silent like, are you sure?
I don't think culture was applicable to the Aziz Ansari.
I don't believe in you, but I think he's
He's American as they can be.
Okay.
I just think that he just had a bad date.
But
I don't
okay.
even know.
Well, he had a bad day, but he also did pick
We
up
spoke
the
about it on
cues.
the podcast.
She should have just got up and left.
All right.
Exactly.
I'm going to move on quickly. I'm going to explain it for anybody that doesn't know, including Mr. Wolf. Aziz Ansari is a famous American comedian. He's got a Netflix show. He had one. I think they
He's
cancelled
quite
it
funny.
now.
He's a funny
Yeah.
guy.
I
don't know if it got cancelled.
But okay, either way, irrespective.
Probably.
He met a lady on a red carpet or at an event. They exchanged details. They went out for dinner at some point. They went back to his place. He was trying to ting. She told him no. He kept trying to ting.
She told him no, not straight away. Sorry.
She tried to ting. Told her no. He tried to ting. He got head. He gave her head.
I remember now.
Yeah, and then eventually, she put her clothes on and left. What he thought was amicably. There was no arguments. There was no beef. Later on, she included her story in the Me Too movement, whereas I didn't feel comfortable. I told him no enough times for him to understand the message, but he didn't take the no. He didn't hit me. He didn't attack me. He didn't threaten me. But because he kept asking, I felt like I had to do what he wanted me to do. And a lot of people said that situation is different. Like you said, he didn't attack you. He didn't lock the door. If you wanted to walk out, you could have walked out. And
One newscaster.
I remember that.
don't compare yourself to women that were
I've been through real trauma.
Yeah, one newscaster splattered.
But you
her.
can't say that she hasn't been through trauma. with
No,
that.
but the point is, the question is asking. This is now bringing in that grey area because Aziz now is tainted. I think he did lose his program.
Yeah.
So then he's saying, a woman's accused him of doing something. The thing that he was even accused of doing, most people have been in a similar kind of situation where no will turn into a yes, and nobody can tell me they haven't turned into a situation where no didn't turn into a yes, and then people moved on.
Yeah.
In this situation now, I've been in that situation, so I'll put my hand up. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah. Us old ones, we admit.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, he didn't say anything.
I don't back the calls, bro.
But anyways, okay, so that's that. So I think that's where the grey area comes in. That's why it was included in the question. We kind of skirted around it, but I'm including it in there, and then I'm going to dead the question now.
Okay.
All right,
fine.
and then I'm going to move on to the next thing, and we're going to discuss suicide
Okay.
and
Heavy
therapy.
topics.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll get through the heavy thing, and then we'll move on to
Yeah.
the joke things after. So, Kate Spade is a fashion designer, and Anthony Bourdain is a celebrity chef and TV presenter, and both of them committed suicide last week. As you're listening to, as this is released, it's
Oh, the
last
chef
week.
killed himself as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
see?
suicide. So he hung himself, I think, from the ceiling, and the other one hung himself
Yeah.
from like the wire style, hung himself
my God.
from the what do you call it? The door handle.
Boy, that's prison style, boy.
And so I wanted to discuss this. So suicide seems to be on the rise. After these 2 suicides, the social media is going mad. Like, you know, mainstream social media is going mad with if you need counselling. Because after all these stories, they're tagging on, here's numbers for counsellors if you need any information.
Yeah.
Now, I think in the black community for the last couple of years, because I don't think we ever spoke. When I was growing up, I never heard this between my friends. There wasn't any social media before, but we weren't talking about it in the families. We weren't talking about it in the community. But even since the advent of social media, it's only been in the last 2 or 3 years that it seems that mental health and therapy is high on the list of topics for us in our community.
Right, okay.
So we're talking about it a lot. And I wanted to know, because as far as I'm concerned, I don't think I'd ever do a therapy for mental. I can't see it ever happening. I might do it for a relationship if I had a problem in my relationship. I would be willing to do a therapy to solve any relationship problems. But if it just comes down to issues that I have with my head, and I've been in not depression, but I've been in a state where I was just, I think it was just your average teenage, you know, crying over nonsense. I just grew up out of it, and I feel that you can just grow up out of it. So basically, that's my story. I don't think I would do it. I wanted to know: do you think, 1, you would go through therapy, and 2, do you think you need therapy? So I'm gonna ask everyone individually. We're gonna be fast and move on.
I want to tag it to something else though.
You always want to tag something on to something. I'll leave you to the last end. So don't interrupt everyone else as they're talking.
Cool.
I'm gonna start with the ladies.
Is that just based on this current? Are we gonna dig into the question, or are we just gonna ask this?
That is a question.
Oh, right.
What did you mean?
No, we're not. Are we talking about suicide itself and it within the community, or you just want us to do a quick fire answer?
If you want to talk about that, then that's not the direction I was going in. But if you want to discuss it, then by all means bring it.
Just more about therapy.
I'm talking about the therapy part.
Are we talking about mental health? Yeah.
Mental health, therapy, and being pushed to the edge. If you want to, bring your own things to it. I don't mind. I just don't long it off too much because I don't want this episode to be 2 hours 15 minutes like we've been reaching.
If it is 2 hours 15 minutes, it's 2 hours 15 minutes. It's therapy. Come on, let's go.
Okay, Jay.
So what was the question?
Do you feel that you have ever been in a position where you've needed some sort of therapy, and regardless of even whether you had or hadn't, would you ever go to therapy? Do you think that's something you would do?
If I needed it, yes, I would. I definitely would. Thank God I haven't had to. Well, so that's what I think. But I think everyone needs therapy at some point.
So you're one of them ones.
Yeah. What? Having someone to talk to, someone to hash things out.
I mean professional therapy. I'm not talking about talking to your friends.
No, yeah, exactly. Professional therapy. Someone to actually line up what's happening in your life.
Nigerians don't need professional therapy.
Yeah, they do. Oh, Nigerians are the people that need the therapy the most.
Oh, go on. Go on, tell us about
the whole country needs therapy.
Wow. Wow.
I said it here.
The light will just switch off in between the therapy session.
Tell us why then before we move on to more.
What about Nigeria?
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, you said that you feel you would do it. God, thanks. You have never been in that situation yourself, and then you immediately contradicted yourself and said everyone's in the situation where they need therapy.
Yeah, exactly.
So one of them is a lie. So I know the type of person you are now.
Everyone does need therapy at some point. I think
just not
it's
you.
not.
So you're
no, I'm not saying I don't. Well, I did say I don't need it.
Let her talk, man.
At the moment, let me change that. At the moment, I don't think I need therapy, but who knows?
But you would do
we
it.
Go through. We all go through some sort of trauma in life. How do we deal with those things? Some people deal with it in a better way. Some people are not able to deal with it. So it's different, right? It's different for people. It's individual life experiences.
Okay. Well,
I would definitely do therapy, and I'm actually looking into doing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just because you want to, or because you actually feel you need it?
Both. I was having a conversation with one of my male friends, and he went through a really hard time recently, and he's been having therapy to help deal with that. And we were having a conversation about it, and he was just saying that it was one of those things he never thought he needed it, but now that he started it, he's realised the benefits that he's been getting from it.
I think it's one of those things you will never understand it until you do it.
And I think that's what it is. And he's quite similar to yourself and Stavros, that he was like, I don't need it, I'm fine. But he ended up doing it, and he's seen a real benefit. Don't get me wrong, he still says there's bits of it, it's a bit wishy-washy, but he does appreciate that there's at least once a week someone that's listening to him, helps him organize his thoughts, think about how he's feeling.
And that was it after this conversation it appealed to you, or were you thinking about it beforehand?
I was thinking about it before, actually.
Okay.
So I do think I should do it, and it's been a combination. I don't feel like there's anything particularly wrong at the moment. I just think it would be actually quite nice to do to help me.
Okay. Simple Simon.
I've been in therapy for a while.
Go on. Let me hit the punchline.
No, I've been in therapy for a while. Literally, like.
Was it professional?
The person is a professional, but I happen to know them in a friend capacity.
Okay.
But they don't know any of my other friends, so you lot don't know the person. But yeah, I've been in
non-gender at the moment.
I've been in therapy.
I'll take away
just
my
say
laugh.
they. Good.
Of course, they.
Yeah.
I've been in therapy for probably around about 2 years.
I told you this is a dark horse here. I told you.
So when you say you've been in therapy, do you mean you sit down with them, actually have a coffee and discuss things in a therapeutic way, and they know they're giving you therapeutic advice, or you just chat to your brethren?
No, the person's a qualified.
That's not what I asked you.
Well, yeah, let me answer them. They're qualified social worker, but I'm not talking to them as my brethren, because as much as they're my friend, they're not my friend like that, if that makes sense. So outside of the things that we talk about, there isn't really.
So they know that they're giving you therapy.
Yeah, they know what's going on.
Freebies.
Yeah.
You're getting freebies.
I'm not paying for it.
So
Well,
free.
the meal, I might pay for the meal. That's a bit.
Oh, it's
So
dinner.
I've been doing that for a while. Coffee, dinner, whatever, however, like, or snacks. Well, not just dinner, but snacks. So yeah, I've been doing that for a while.
Okay. Can you rewind my laugh, please, in the edit?
Don't rewind. Leave that laugh right there. So do you feel like it's been beneficial for you to have that therapy?
Yes.
How has it helped you?
It better be for 2 years of doing it.
It's helped me in the sense that it's twofold. One, there's a lot of confirmation that I'm not an unreasonable, not entirely an unreasonable person, but then there's also been confirmation that I can be unreasonable, and I've been shown where I can be unreasonable, and not only that I've been shown where I can be unreasonable, but from another person's perspective, why that is unreasonable.
Do you need a therapist to do that?
This is the question. I have always asked whether the person needs to be a therapist to do it, and I would like to say implicitly the answer should be no, but in reality, I think your relationship with people that you know taints the information that they give you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And not necessarily taints the quality of the information, it taints the way you receive it. So if one of you man said something to me, I could see the sense in it, but then I might not be able to.
That's similar to our first topic.
Yeah, it's similar to the first topic. I might not be able to take on the fullness of what you're saying because I see the sense of what you're saying. That makes sense? Like sometimes someone says something to you, it doesn't make any sense until you think about it and unravel it, and then you're like, oh, okay, I get it.
But then that's why I think you do need someone qualified to ask the questions correctly and help you.
So
it's different to like listening to like a friend or a person having a conversation.
Yeah.
A therapist is a whole. I think a whole.
Because if it's someone you know, then it's personal.
Yeah.
It's too.
But he still knows that person.
But
you're saying you don't know them in a personal capacity.
They're
your friend.
Yeah, but outside of that interaction, I don't really know them like that. If that makes sense.
But it still feels like a
Jay, he's juggling like you, man. He's just juggling.
It just still feels like a conversation between two friends.
Yeah, that's why I asked the question.
Rather than an actual like, this is me in therapy.
Okay, but to put a pin on your situation, you said that it was helping you twofold. You gave us the one thing, then Wahala went and delved deeper. So what was the second part that you felt was helping you?
No, he's winged me now.
You said one of them was that it helped you understand how you're not always right or irrational, but then you are rational. And
yeah.
And I was thinking that was a twofold.
I'm right.
No, that was one.
No, it was a twofold.
That's a twofold.
So one that he explains to him.
Okay, he can speak for himself.
Yeah. Right. So one explains to me when that I'm not an unreasonable person, and then the other is explaining to me when I am actually being unreasonable. Which sounds like a contradiction.
It doesn't just sound like a contradiction. It is a contradiction.
No, it's not. I don't think it is.
Jay, I'm right.
I just don't think
you're not right.
Which is why you wouldn't be good as a therapist.
I just don't think you need the second point. I think maybe most people would need to know where they're actually wrong versus confirmation that I'm right also.
Well, I think
you need to know when you're right, man.
You're right.
I don't know.
You do.
Sometimes when you go to war, you need to know you go to war for the right reasons.
I don't think that's a contradiction.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think it's a contradiction.
I think it makes complete sense.
All right.
Okay.
When you not listen back to this, you can tweet me.
Sometimes
Tweet
he's
me
right,
at
sometimes he's wrong.
Exactly.
What's the contradiction about that?
Yeah, but to say that you're not. Okay.
Okay,
Mr. Wolf, you tell us. Would you do the therapy thing? Do you feel you've ever needed in therapy?
I think I'm with you, Stav. I mean, I don't think that I would need to spend money on professional help. I've got my brothers, man. Seriously, and I think there has been a time when I needed to sit down and confide in some friends and have a discussion about life and what have you. You know, not to the point that I was being dragged down mentally, but there was a bit of a burden on me, and I've got a variety of different close friends that I can go to that will tell me the truth, you know, blunt truth and good words, encouragement and what have you. And in terms of professional and spending money on it, I don't think I need that.
But it's not just for people that have a problem. It's you know, it's almost like it can be preventative as well. So
it's like flossing.
Yeah. Like,
I think
you go to the dentist like even when you don't need to go.
I think the general consensus is to go to have therapies because there's an issue. So
Exactly.
I do co-sign that. And I think my friends and my family do exactly the same thing. When there is a time when I might be going a little wayward or left side, which I wouldn't say happens a lot, but if I'm not being a correct individual or slacking in my movements, my people let me know.
Okay.
Before we got started recording, I was explaining to Mo and Jay, and it's like, how long have you, well, Jay specifically asked how long you've been doing the podcast. I said we started in 2010 and we did it for over a year and we took a long hiatus. And what did I say? One of the reasons that we started back together was that the crew said, listen, we're older now, we got women, we don't see each other as much. It would be nice to let off steam, to talk to our brethren once a week like we used to. So one of the reasons that we're back, outside of everyone jacking our swagger and just making podcasts, call out the box, is that only playing, is that we just wanted that camaraderie and to be able to talk to each other. There's times where we finish the podcast, as we're packing up the equipment, we have big, deep conversations that I never would have picked up the phone and called any one of them to have this conversation.
So this is like therapy then?
Potentially. That's what the village is. But Wahala, we left you to last because you wanted to say your piece and then swing into the next section. So go
it's still
for
in the same type of section. But the question is, first question was, do you
feel you've ever needed it and would you do it?
He needs it, man.
Franco!
Ouch.
Do I think I need therapy?
He's got
Probably.
anger issues, man.
Would I ever go to therapy? I very much doubt it.
Because you won't listen.
Yeah.
So why do you think you might need therapy then? Because at least if you understand the problem, that's one thing. So what do you feel?
Because I've gone through things that people potentially say that a therapist should be, or you should go to therapy for. I don't think I should go to therapy for it, but most people would think that you go to therapy.
But the question was about you. It's not what.
Okay, then I don't think I should go to therapy then.
Okay.
Because I don't think I need it. But have I been through things that I've had to sit down and talk to my people about? Of course. Like everyone, as Mr. Wood said, for me, if I got a problem, I don't have this issue of telling somebody I've got an issue. And I think a lot of the times with people with therapy, they've got an issue with telling people that they know they've got an issue. Or they've got a problem with finding somebody that they feel can listen to them and give them the right advice. So that's why they... Maybe not, but that's what I feel. So I feel like a lot of the time...
That's not it, actually.
Yeah. But that's what I feel. So I feel like there is times that people have to have somebody, a bit like what Simple Simon was saying, that they need somebody that they think is going to be able to listen to them. One, a lot of people don't like to be judged and they think therapists are not going to judge them, which is bullshit because they are going to judge you. Two, I think that they want somebody that is trained to give them the right answer so they can say, well, trained professionals, a bit like what Simple Simon said again, has told me whether I'm right or wrong in my thinking. And three, they want somebody that's outside of their space. Yeah. I don't want any one of those three things. So for me, if I need to have a conversation about something, or I feel like my mental health, which I don't think is bad in the first place, has got a problem, I'll go speak to one of my boys. And another thing that I've got, I think I'm quite good at is if I've got a problem, I deal with the issue. I don't sit on it. I don't dwell on it. I don't pretend like, it doesn't exist. I deal with it. And if I can't fix that issue, I just have to deal with the fact that I cannot fix that issue. I don't go out of my brain trying to decipher how I'm going to go around it. If somebody dies, they're dead. I can't bring them back to life. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. I pretty much accept those things quite quickly. And I think that's why I can potentially move on with things a lot easier.
But do you not think it's interesting that all the black men said they won't do therapy or they don't need it?
One of them said he does do.
Oh, yeah.
See, you're not listening like the woman.
See, you're not listening, man.
That's
You're
my
not
life.
taking
Well,
it.
but-
That is my life.
But his
No,
therapy,
but
he said he wouldn't go to
Yeah.
therapy, that he has what he calls therapy.
And
already. We're still
like,
debating
on
it
the
now.
fence about
I'm not
that
really
one.
sure.
Whether it's more of a conversation between friends.
Yeah.
They ain't
I-
co-signing your
I-
therapy, man.
I think that people need to just. I think that sometimes we neglect our people around us as therapists, because just because they don't have a certificate, I don't think that it's wrong that you should.
But then that's
No.
a different. It's a
not a
different
certificate.
question.
I think we
Certificate.
need to be careful because we're talking here. Maybe people are having issues. They're people with serious mental health issues.
That need
they need
Yeah,
therapy.
exactly.
And this is the kind of thing. Like these two people, Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade. Like they had loads of people around them.
Yeah.
But
But
they were still in a dark place.
But
I know someone who committed suicide last year, 24-year-old black boy, a young man, and he had people around him, but he wasn't getting the help that he needed, and he had serious mental health issues.
Yeah,
so I think maybe we should be careful and say,
Our
it's
brother
not
committed-
just people around you.
Our brother committed suicide. Me and Stuff's brother committed suicide. So it's not a case of that we don't know it can happen. And yes, we were all around him. He did go to speak to people, which I would say was the wrong people to speak to, for me personally.
Right.
But he didn't go to a therapist. Would a therapist have helped him? I don't know. So again, even there's people that go to therapy every day, every week, and they still go through what they want to go through because that's where they are.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to try and segue into is also because Stav mentioned originally the first thing I was talking about was social media, saying that how we need to start worrying about mental health. We need to start talking about mental health. We need to start talking about mental health. We need to be on people's side. And then somebody rightly raised, I forgot who I saw. It was talking about Rams. Do you know who Rams is?
Yeah.
The guy that did the song about the girl from Barking. 3 a.m. Right?
Yeah.
So he
And I was like, is that Addison Lee song? I don't know.
No, that's
I don't
Notes.
know.
There's Notes and there's Rams.
Okay.
So Rams did the song, the one from Barking, and
Yeah.
he got blown up because of that song. And he, man put the song there. Big up the man from, big up Rams. So Rams did a, are you playing this?
Oh, I know that song. Okay.
You see them guys over there? I
Right.
got a Portuguese. She said my tempers. I got two different walls like. You hit me up. But I walked in the rain with her. Shirt my Colgate.
All right, so that was Rams, and he was doing probably the biggest show that he probably ever had to do, which is the Capital Summer. Is it Summer Jam or something like
I
that?
don't know.
Yeah.
But
Capital Summer Jam, yeah, which is a massive event.
80,000 people.
80,000 people, big event for him. He went out there and absolutely bombed.
Why?
Right? Apparently,
Did you not hear the ching?
He wasn't singing.
He was trying to go over the beat.
Can I just say one thing very quickly? When I came back, what was it? Afro
Beats or whatever it is.
Afro
Festival.
Republic.
Afro Republic.
Yeah.
Exactly what
I
I
went
said
there.
was what he did
Yeah.
here. I mean, it was better than in Afro Republic. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It wasn't this bad, but this is what
Did
everyone
he
was doing.
perform at Afro Republic?
No.
I was gonna say.
It's just that the way that his performance was done here is similar to what I feel that a lot of these youngsters are doing.
Yeah.
And they did it at Afro Republic, where I said, is it Mr. Easy? And Tiwa Savage.
Techno did it.
Techno did it, yeah. And what's the other
Bro,
dude?
does it matter? This
I said that these ones didn't do that. They sung differently, whereas a lot of the youngsters are doing this. They're just singing over their song.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what
or shouting over.
That's
the
what he was doing. So he was singing over the song, but his his earpiece wasn't working, so he couldn't hear the song. So he was off sync. He was just shouting at random places. Bits of the song where it was meant to come in, he didn't come in.
Is it confirmed that his earpiece wasn't working?
He was saying that, yeah. He said it on Twitter himself that his earpiece weren't working.
For those of you that don't know about stage things, you have those those big speakers you see on the front of the stages. If you don't know what they're for,
Monitors.
it's the monitors to send the music back to the artist. Also, they have things in their ear so they can hear in real time the music, because obviously music travels through time, and by the time it gets back to their ears, once the band has played it and they're hearing it through the monitors, it's different than live. So you have the issue where if you don't have your earpiece working correctly,
you're off sync.
Okay, I feel bad for him now because I didn't know that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
So what happened?
So the reason why I'm bringing this whole story up is because we're talking about mental health in one thing, but then he got slaughtered.
Hold on, because this was something Mo wanted to talk about. Before you,
Was you going to slaughter him as well?
were you going to join in?
I was.
Oh,
I didn't know that his earpiece wasn't working. Because you know what? I was talking about it.
Same energy.
I'm going to keep the same energy because I was going to talk about it in terms of like Afro Republic and a few other kind of like music events where you have these new artists, also Afrobeat artists that are lazy. Ooh. They just, I'm gonna say it, they just come, they have their backing track, they don't sing all the lyrics, they're not even singing, they haven't rehearsed. For me, that's lazy, and that's not what the people that have paid good money to come see you deserve.
I agree.
So I thought Rams was in that same category.
Well, he got slaughtered online to the point where I think he cancelled a couple of his social media accounts.
Oh, really?
I think his Twitter's back now or whatever. But that's how deep it was. Mm-hmm. He was basically cyberbullied for doing something again in the public that was wrong. I know
what it feels like.
On one hand, you talk about you want to preserve somebody's mental health,
yeah,
and then the next minute you're abusing the guy so bad to the point where he has to take himself off social media so he doesn't see you cussing him so bad.
Everybody, to him, it might seem like social bullying, but for every individual person, maybe it's 100,000 people, but only 100,000 people just made one joke.
But it's a tease. How many thousand people say something about you?
Yeah, but
something negative about you. Every 5 minutes, you pick up your phone, somebody's tagged you to say something negative about you.
My point is for
your mum,
for
your dad.
No, calm down.
Some people say that though.
But I'm saying most people just busting a joke.
There's busting a joke between you and your brethren. Yeah, there's 5 of you, 6 of us, or us on the podcast, and there's busting a joke with the whole of the UK.
You're celeb now, man.
Yeah, but people aren't thinking. That's not what people are thinking.
That's
anyway.
Social media. That's the whole point of it. You're able to, the same way if he had an amazing performance, he would have got 100,000 people like saying how amazing it was.
But he would have still had 100,000 people being negative towards him,
exactly.
as well as the thing.
Exactly.
So this is the thing I got with this now. We're talking about some people's mental health in now 2018. I think social media is affecting their mental health way more than anything else.
I agree with you that it makes a big difference. You can't dress. It depends where you go to eat makes a difference now. If I was gonna go on a date with a woman in my early 20s, I could have taken her somewhere nice, or somewhere not so nice, and she might have been cool with it. Now it's like, no, but I need to take pictures. You know, people gonna know where I'm at. I ain't going to that restaurant with you, so you better come correct. Just stuff like that is how the clothes you're wearing.
Sorry,
that depends on the demographic you're going out with as well.
Well, okay, I hear what you're saying, but you get my point.
Yes,
but people. I think we're all a bit older than, like, we live in social media now, but I think we grew up not within it. So we know what it was like before then. We don't structure our lives around it. But
Stav is talking like he's in the same generation.
There are people growing up and all they know is social media. That's all they know. So taking a picture of your meal before you eat is standard practice for them. Whereas I'm looking at it, and you do that.
Yeah, I do that.
Sometimes.
You're a millennial, so it's alright. You know, you're a millennial. Don't worry, you take your pictures in it. Enjoy yourself. Whereas, like, my wife did it the other day, and I was just sat there looking at it. I'm like, you realise you're taking pictures of your food?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. I said, okay. And then
her own food that she cooked.
No.
In the restaurant.
You can do that as well if it's your own food that you cook.
I think it's more effective if you're taking a picture of the own food that you cooked.
Yeah.
Because when you're taking a picture of the food in a restaurant, you're just venerating the chef.
Well, if it looks nice.
My wife is, I know she's not posting it, so it's better because she's taking it as a memory for what she can look back on her pictures. Google Images, for instance, every year it will tell you did this last year. So, for instance, 3 years ago we were at a Thai performance. Me and my wife, we were at a Thai performance, and she showed me this morning. Oh, we was at a performance with Thai, and I would never remember, but her Google thing, she loves it. So she's taking a picture of that meal, and she knows in 2 or 3 years' time it's going to say, you were at this meal with your husband, your fantastic, stupendous, wonderful, masculine.
Google says that as well.
Faithful husband.
Google says that as well.
Google is very smart. It will say that in 3 or 4 years' time. So, and she's gonna smile because she's like, yeah, I got the good man. And so that's what she's doing it for.
It is a beautiful thing, that Google photo thing.
But then here's the question. If it takes for this thing to remind you, then obviously it wasn't that impactful enough for you to remember.
No.
It's the truth.
I'm not having that.
It's the truth.
Sometimes it's not you remember the situation, you just don't remember the date. So the other day it was the anniversary of when I bought my house with my missus. I forgot completely.
Yeah, and we got the same Google thing.
So who reminded you?
Google told me I saw one picture of us holding the keys.
Yeah.
Then I remembered how much I've been paying for that damn house since that day.
Yeah.
And I calculated, I said, that damn house. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it is quite a good thing. But that's not the question, is it? The question is social media having that much of an impact on people's mental health? Are we saying that it's causing much more problems than it is good? I think it's destroying relationships. I think it's aiding in people actually finding each other, but I think it's also destroying relationships. I think it's destroying people's mental health. I think that people are worse off with social media.
But it's
mentally.
turned people, on the flip side of that, it's turned people bitch ass. You can't say this. You can't say that. Don't talk about my skin. Don't talk about my hair.
You can say things.
Rack off.
You'll get feedback. That's what it is.
No,
like,
people,
if you're going to say
don't want to
something.
hear. No, you know what happens, yeah? You disagree with me. I'm muting you. I'm cutting you off.
Yeah.
We just have a disagreement. Not even rude. Did
they hurt your feelings?
Just disagreed.
Yeah, but
he got blocked one day and it hurt your feelings.
And they have the right to do that.
They do. But what I'm saying is, I feel you grow more as a person when you are around people that are not just mirror images of yourself.
Echo
yeah,
chamber.
no,
You
but that
need to have
depends.
that
It depends
friction.
on the critique that you're getting. It
don't
depends
get me
on
wrong.
the feedback.
But you have to also take into account that, again, unfortunately, the generation that you're talking about that are sensitive like this may include some of our generation, but moreover, it's the generation afterwards. And if you look back at their childhood, you'll see that there's certain ingredients that we had to go through that they don't have to go through just because of the time that they're born in. So this whole idea about social media and people being sensitive towards it is because it has been an intricate part of their life since they were coming up. Whereas with us, social media came along after we'd already had our lessons in how to build our own character, how we'd gone through all of our own hardships and what have you. The fact that there was no social media when we were coming up was part of the hardship that's allowed us to deal with social media as it is now.
I don't call that a hardship, but I call it a blessing.
56k modem was a hardship.
It was a hardship. So we might look at it as a blessing now, but we have to remember that Facebook came around in 2004 or something like that.
It's not a hardship, man.
People were when I say hardship, you have to understand what I'm saying. People were used to talking. They were used to interaction. They were used to meeting prickly characters. After this phase, everybody's being nice online because it's all about likes.
No one's being nice online, bro.
You have to understand what I'm saying to you.
Or if you're being bad, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah,
if I disagree with you, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah, but the current
it's not fine. It's not fine.
It is fine. Is social media the place to bring people down?
If you were talking to me in real life and I wasn't agreeing with you and I didn't want to talk to you, then I would just stop talking to you in real life.
Just because we disagree, you must stop talking to the person.
I might do if I decide to, but that's my choice.
Okay,
I think disagreeing with somebody is completely being different to being rude. If somebody's being rude to me, then you distance yourself from
that's rude.
But if they're being disagreeing to a conversation that you're having, and this is what I have a problem with at the moment with social media, I'm a bit like with Stav, that as soon as you disagree with me, the disagreement comes with a whole lot of things behind it. Suddenly you disagree with me because you hate women. Suddenly you disagree with me because you hate black people. Suddenly you disagree with me because you hate this.
You
only like light skin.
Yeah, you only did this.
Never mind, you're married to a dark woman.
It can't just be a case of you just disagree with me because at that particular point in time, I don't agree with that point. But the thing you said yesterday, I can't agree with. Which you didn't have a problem with me yesterday, I agree with you. And this is my thing with judgment. Because people only like to hear positive judgments. They don't like to hear negative judgments.
No,
so people like to hear saying, a lot of them, because they'll say to you, don't judge. We should never judge. I don't judge anyone. When in reality, you judge everybody for everything. It's just that positive judgments don't get acknowledged because they're positive. Only negative judgments are what people decide they want to take into account and talk about. Same thing with comments. If somebody says something to you that's positive, you may say, oh, he's nice. He's agreed with me. But as soon as that disagreement then comes into play, suddenly it becomes a problem because he's not agreeing with the echo chamber of the person that you are. And I think social media has made some people with echo chambers think they're actually right in situations where they're not, and that's dangerous.
But I don't think that's any difference to real life, how people are.
It is different because, you in very rare cases, you will have somebody that has 10, 20, 30,000 people listening to them. Yeah. On social media, you can gain that popularity, or you can quite easily, you can make one point and have that many people following you, or following that point you've made, and anybody that disagrees with that point gets shut down. And you realize, wow, this is a reaffirmation of my point. What I thought was true. I found 20, 30, 40,000 people that agree with me. And the odd person that is brave enough or stupid enough to disagree with what I'm saying is getting shut down by these other people. I don't even have to open my mouth. So that's a power that I don't think
straight skeptical.
Most people don't have. You don't have that in day-to-day life. Sorry, Simple Simon, I'll cut you off. I'm very sorry.
No, it's all right. It's gone now. I don't know why.
I would very much apologise.
Apologise again, damn it.
But Mo went and jumped in as well. So
I just think that social media it aids and abets it, doesn't it?
Throw black women under the bus. Hashtag. Sorry, yeah, it aids and abets. Go on.
Yeah, no, it just if you've done something stupid, and then social media gets a hold of it, then it just blows up.
Yeah, but what is stupid? You have to understand what is stupid.
It could be anything from being someone who does domestic violence. That's the kind of stupid that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Not just the regular random foolishness. But at the same time, if you do something that is minor and then it gets caught online, then social media will aid and abet and put fuel onto the fire. And I just
Definitely.
think that that's what it is. It just escalates everything into such a mass medium.
Going off Mr. Wolf's point, and I'm going to talk about a question that somebody actually asked us to talk about, actually, and the fact that we've got ladies on the show will benefit with that.
Which one was this?
This is to talk about again, the situation between black men and black women, and how it actually is on social media.
Okay.
Which question was this?
You might not have seen it. It came from Simone when we were talking. You was there. So I don't know why you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because obviously at the moment there's a lot of black men, Stavros included. I think even was this week. Are very tired with the way that they are being portrayed online.
What
Why
happened?
you mention my name?
Yes.
Look at the women are looking at me now. Bruv, you talk for
What
yourself.
happened?
He
What
was
did
very
he do?
tired. You know what that posted it? Talking about, I forgot what you wrote there. Something that it was distressing about you. But I've seen a lot of.
What did you
Usually
write?
I see a lot
don't
of men.
recall.
I see a
Mr.
lot
Wolf
of,
has been on this from time,
I
don't
see a lot of men complaining about how black women talk about them, or how women are talking about black men in general.
Yeah.
But sometimes I dismiss them because I'm like, you black men are nonsense when I start saying it anyway, complaining. But actually, recently, I've seen some of the black men that actually are very supportive of the black women themselves now saying, boy.
What? Sorry. What is being said? I don't understand.
Well,
okay.
Black men are trash. There's no black men don't know how to. It's a case of putting everybody in the same boat,
Okay,
basically.
right.
So all black men are trash.
Yeah.
Black men have no love for black women. All they want to do is put them down. Black men are this. The thing that people are complaining about at the moment is the black male have privilege, and they express they're taking that privilege and not helping black women.
Can I say that at the moment, female empowerment, and so specifically black female empowerment, is a prominent thing in our society and on social media specifically.
It's needed.
It is needed. It is needed. So in that arena, there are going to be times where somebody disagrees with a specific part of a discussion. And if a black man that might be for the cause of black female empowerment has a differing view on one specific part of a discussion, whatever that part of the discussion may be, then maybe he's dragged down in social media and clawed. And
so what are we talking about?
No, there's no specific case I'm giving. Let me think of something. Let's say, for instance, there's a dark-skinned man that's always gone out with dark-skinned women, you know, raised in a dark-skinned family, you know, never had an issue with dark skin, and somebody brings up the issue of colorism or shadism, and let's just, for instance, say they were wrong, I don't know, but they said, oh, they don't see it in their eyes, and at this time, their 10th girlfriend, it happens to be light-skinned. So he gets attacked for, well, you have a light-skinned person, shut your mouth, like, you're part of the problem. But he's thinking, I've only ever dated dark-skinned people before. This is the first time I've even dated light-skinned. I have no preference, but all they see is him with a light-skinned person and talking about colorism in a way that he's disagreeing with what they're saying, and so he might get attacked, and he might have to close his social media down if he's not strong enough. So what people are saying is that, can a black man not just disagree with a certain thing or have an opinion? Some people say black men should not have an opinion. You know that scene in Malcolm X, the film?
Who's saying black men shouldn't have an opinion?
That scene in Malcolm X, where a white woman went up to Malcolm X and said, I want to help the cause. You know, I'm all down for it. What can I do? And he said,
I love that.
Yeah, you can't do nothing. Like, stay out of our way. And then he walked on, and she just looked there lost. Some black men is feeling like it's like that. Like, they're just lost. Like, because if I don't know exactly what I'm told, when I'm told, how I'm told, if I have an opinion of my own, then I'm gonna get shut down.
But then, is your opinion going against the cause?
It maybe the opinion in question might not go along with what the majority of the cause is saying, but maybe they are for the cause.
Then that's problematic.
How is it problematic?
Because if the cause is about black women and they're saying to you that what you're saying they don't agree is wrong, then you're not supporting the cause. No,
it's fine to. This is my point now. This goes back to what we were just saying. It's all right for the person to say, I disagree with this, and for a woman or women in general, even in mass, to say, well, we disagree with you, we feel you're wrong, let's discuss it. It's a different thing when you just shut the person down. It's
I agree
like
with
with
that.
vitriol, like just. I'm sure you know what I mean. Have you not seen it where somebody said something and they forget even if it's a woman. I mean, a man. Some women are afraid to talk towards certain powerful women on social media.
They're intimidated.
Yes,
but that's not the woman's problem.
But do you think
black women are scary, you know?
No, don't say that.
I'm playing.
That's
inappropriate. But on the real though, as much as I'd said that, I'm joking. I said something else. I say I'm joking. It does seem that a black woman can't take a joke, you know.
No, that's not it.
But
okay, do you know what? It's like so we use the example of white people and black people, right? Between men and women and stuff. So imagine a white person saying something that's a stereotype of black people to you, and they're saying, "Oh, black people, you can't take a joke."
Yeah, but
because we hear that all the time.
I can deal with that. I hear plenty of black women that can't take that joke. I can joke,
but it's not really a joke.
But if it is a joke, then if I deem it to not be a joke, if I feel that they mean what they're saying.
But you're using stereotypes.
And I find it offensive. But stereotypes
you're
come
using
from
negative
stereotypes. Say, for instance, the joke that you just made now about black women being scary and aggressive. This is something that's very real.
Yeah.
That's been used against black women. Hence why we don't find it funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm joking.
But then we can't we say that your joke is not funny?
It's like if a white person said, "Oh, you blacks, just going out there shooting people all the time." It's not funny.
That kind of thing happened to my brother at work the other day. Someone, I don't know what he said. I think he was looking for something in the office. Maybe he called it a different name, and his white colleague was like, "Oh, is that what you call it in the hood?"
Oh my days.
See, I think it was funny.
No, it's not funny.
I think it's funny.
I'm laughing.
But if they said it to you, would you find that funny?
Potentially. The thing is,
if you would find that funny,
for that to be offensive to me, there's two things. One is I would think you're going out of your way to be offensive. So if you are, then I could take offense to it. And then the second thing is it would have to resonate with me as some sort of truth. So if I think one, you're joking, and two, I know it's not true, then I can deal with it. If I think you're actually trying to be offensive and you believe what you're saying, then it becomes offensive.
But he thought he was trying to be funny.
That's my point. You were just trying to joke. The joke can be rubbish.
No, the joke can also be offensive.
The joke can be offensive. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the joke can't be. But what I'm saying is that I can make jokes sometimes that people might deem as offensive, and then once you pull me up,
that's your humor, right?
Yes, I think got their own sense.
I think with this situation, with certain situations, if you're constantly going out of your way to battle this stereotype, you're constantly going out of your way to battle it, and everybody's just making a joke of that battle. Then the person can.
Hold on. I'm not going down this road where we're deciphering what I said.
No, I'm just saying. I'm talking about in general. I'm talking about in general with regards to why some people say that they don't want to take that joke basically. So they're not taking it as a joke anymore because they've decided that it's enough.
But it's humor is subjective.
It is subjective.
I'm gonna say if I might not find it funny.
That's fine. That's fine. Let's go back to the topic of black men and black women having some sort of fractured relationship online.
I found one of the tweets that one of the things that one of the men was talking about.
Okay,
actually, this was not about this is not an example. This is what somebody actually have said.
Okay.
So they said in defense of black men, as a collective, we seem to be coming in for a lot of stick. Some early morning thoughts. Walk with me. And increasingly,
is this McQueen?
Yeah.
This is the guy, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't retweet all of it, so I can't even see all of it. And so that was part of the thing.
Read the thread, innit?
No, I can't get to the thread. It's like he's blocked people, or he's maybe his friends are private or whatever. I don't know. I think he maybe came from some stick with this. But it was another point he made. I'm increasingly seeing many young women focusing a lot of energy and time on social media taking down black men, using the basis of a few examples to label all black men the same. The truth is, we are not all a homogenous group. We all bring different narratives. Sometimes we excel, sometimes we fuck up, but we're out here doing. I'm sorry, he's messed up. We are out here doing our due, and sometimes it gets tiring bringing attack from all sides. I wish more of us were better dads. I wish more of us were better partners. But regardless of this, it's not just all black men, and it's not just men as a whole.
Mm-hmm. And so can I just say it's not all black women that are giving this?
I don't think all black women.
Yeah, because I haven't heard of this toxic environment.
So that's what I'm saying. It's a group that's giving feedback on a different group.
Let me finish reading that his thing because I don't want him to because he's put things in here to make sure that the people don't attack him. So not here looking for excuses or handouts or sympathy vote. Just that sometimes we come in for a lot of stick from all sides, very often solutions or exploring partnerships from those we have issues with. Even for those of us who seem to have it together, this stuff is tiring. Trying to encourage a younger generation to have hope, to be optimistic when so much shit is thrown at you is exhausting. We are not the same. Sometimes we need to... Sometimes we need to just cut a little slack. Simples. Thanks for walking. Now, I kind of felt when I read that, because he is somebody that I see is very much an advocate for black women, and black women's rights and equality and stuff like that. So when I saw him was like, even he's tired. I'm like, jeez, boy, it's getting to a point where it's breaking down a lot of people.
Do you know who's even more tired? The black woman.
Yeah, but
yes, we know you're tired. Well, don't you know it's a competition? It's a competition.
Wait, you know what? I need to understand what is it that black men are saying that
black women are saying.
No, black men. What is it that black men are saying to black women that is creating this toxic environment?
Can I ask you a question? Do you have a negative feeling about most black men you come in contact with?
Wahala is talking to Jay at the moment.
No, I don't.
You don't. So then, would you?
Some of them I do.
Would you go out to the world and say black men are trash?
No, I wouldn't.
Would you do the same thing, Mo? Or you wouldn't say that black men are trash?
No.
That's why you don't get it.
Okay.
I mean, and that might be the reason why, because
So are people saying all black men are trash?
Yeah, but the same way those women are generalizing black men, you're generalizing us as black women. It's just you're gonna have it.
Who's generalizing? I'm not generalizing.
No, but you're
anyone.
gonna have it where black women aren't gonna say that men are trash.
Yeah,
it happens.
We didn't say all black women. We said it seems to be happening a lot on social media.
But do you not think it's maybe that with social media, black women, we've finally decided that we can actually share our voice and we're voicing our concerns and our issues, and you guys are maybe a bit sensitive about hearing this negative feedback
in certain aspects, maybe. But then I don't think that the feedback is it's negative, which is I don't have a problem with negative feedback. I have a problem with negative feedback which doesn't come with anything. Men are trash.
Yeah, but I
think you can't say all men are trash because all men are not trash.
Yeah, but
and then when a man argues back and says, well, it can't be all men. Well, you're problematic for saying that. That's what they'll tell you, You are problematic for saying that all men are not trash.
Are you sure? Really?
I've had it several times.
Really? I've seen that conversation online where it was black men are trash. He's come out of, I don't know why he went and joined in the conversation and said not all black men, and the fact that he said not all black men was picked up on. And it's like, you see, you're just like, clearly I don't mean everyone. Why do you even have to bring that up?
No, they never said that. They never said clearly we don't mean anyone. They went out of their way not to even say that. They said you are problematic because you are saying not everyone. See what happens as soon as somebody says that men are trash, there's always somebody that comes out and says not every black man. We don't care about what you feel. Blah, blah, blah. Men are trash. Blah, blah, blah.
But do you think it's maybe because you inserted yourself in a conversation?
No, I was part of the conversation. I was part of the conversation.
And you kind of just
the conversation
used it
was
to say,
on my
it's not, I'm not one of those guys. If you're not one of those guys, then keep it moving.
But they was coming to talk where I was talking. So that's like me coming into, let's say that you're coming to your house, yeah? You're having a conversation, yeah?
Yeah.
I come into your house and we're all having a conversation.
Yeah.
And then you comment and I'm like, why are you commenting for? But I'm in your house. I was having a conversation with you and somebody else. Now you're commenting, suddenly you can't talk anymore. That's not how it works, is it?
Mo, you just said, if you're not one of those people, just move on.
Yeah.
I don't believe you believe what you're saying. Because if you take that and you turn it around and you point it out right yourself, especially if you identify as a strong black woman, and you look at some of the stereotypes or some of the things that are tossed in your direction, and you think, that's not applicable to me, I'll just move on. But no, you wouldn't do that.
But I think in terms of the scale is different. So these are things that, like I keep on saying, is a small group of women online saying this, all men are trash. Whereas you can't compare that to years and years of negative feedback against black women.
Nobody's going to make it a comparison. This is what I'm saying. You've already decided that we're trying to compare our struggle to yours.
It's not a challenge.
We're not comparison. We're not comparing.
The thing is, the women that are saying this, that's where they're coming from,
yeah,
isn't
they're
it?
Coming from...
They're talking about experiences and stories, right?
Okay, this is one thing. This is my thing, yeah? And this is why I said that it can't work this way, yeah? You cannot work this way. You cannot complain about the fact that black men are treating you like this, they're talking about you like this, they're saying you're this, you're saying you're that for years and years on end. So the way that I'm going to combat that is abusing them back.
But
does that work?
I don't think that's what's really
But maybe now, rather than coming in and saying that not all men are trash, why don't you maybe say why do you think they're trash, or what's the issue?
I've had those conversations as well, and they still seem to be problematic. But the thing that I have a problem with this is in fact what you said a minute ago, which I was talking about, is where you said I should ignore it. So then if I should ignore it because it doesn't affect me or it's not about me, should I ignore you would then say that that's also problematic, because the first thing they'll say back is, you black men are not talking to other black men about their behavior. But if it doesn't affect me, why should I bother to involve myself in somebody else's behavior? Because it doesn't affect me. So either it affects me or it doesn't. Which way is it? You can't tell me it can affect me this part and then suddenly I should be involved, or it doesn't affect me at all. Because if you're saying that all black men are trash, then I'm part of those black men. Yeah, so it affects me. If you're saying that all black men are trash, but you're not one of them, so you shouldn't worry about it or even think about it, then that also then means to me that I don't need to worry about the next black man next to me that's trash, that you're saying I should be telling that they're doing their behaviours wrong.
So what is it? Is it because that when you went into that space, people gave you negative feedback? So what would have been an acceptable reaction from them?
Well, my reaction their reaction to me is not whether or not it's acceptable or unacceptable. I think it doesn't make any sense. Me saying that all black men is trash. I mean, all black men are not trash. Is factually correct. Are we gonna debate that?
No.
All right. So then, what I shouldn't have back is no. You should just say, yeah, of course, not all black men are trash.
But I think
that's what I would say is factually correct.
I think they're not. I think they're just saying that's not what we're discussing.
But that's what you said.
Issues.
If that's what you said, then that's what you're discussing.
Okay.
It's like I said that. Either you own it and say it with your chest, or you don't mean it.
But I agree, that's not what they're discussing, and it's not really their job to validate you.
Yeah.
I don't understand the validation part.
Yeah, because you're looking for, you want them to say not all men are trash, but that's not up to them.
Yeah.
But you know that.
It's like when people say Black Lives Matter and some people say, well, all lives matter. It's like, yes, but that's not, obviously.
Yeah, that's actually
that's not the point. It's Black Lives Matter. This is what we're dealing with at the moment. We're talking about us. Now. Of course, all lives matter, but because we are so disenfranchised, because we're so put down, we are saying we are exposing that Black Lives Matter.
And I get that when you hear that, when black men do
I don't care about those people though.
I get that when black men hear that comment, you just want to go up and say,
like, it's
no,
not
that's
me.
not true, and I get that.
So,
but that's not what we're
discussing.
But that's what they're saying.
It is what they're saying.
But Stavros's analogy was actually really good. I think that kind of
Bunny's analogy, and Bun all lives matter as well.
So if you see this debate or this wave of people having this conversation online, and you don't say anything, does that mean you don't care? Because I see all of this stuff, and I just don't bother to interact with it because I know, or I shouldn't say I know, I have an assumption about what the reaction's going to be. Like for me, my thing is if you make a statement and I appear to be poking holes in your statement, it's not necessarily to make you look silly. Sometimes I agree with the fight, but my contribution to that agreement is having your arguments watertight. You understand what I'm saying to you? So I find the kink in the armor, I expose the kink in the armor, and it's now for you to say, well, this is why what you're saying doesn't affect.
But why are you trying to prove their point wrong rather than trying to help them?
You didn't hear what I said.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to prove them wrong.
But you just said that you're trying to find a chink in their armor. Why are you even
I'm trying to find the
that?
chink in the armor, expose the chink in the armor.
But why?
Because
they're telling you that we have a problem and this is what we're trying to fight for. And you're looking for holes in their argument.
Because when you are producing an argument or you're presenting an argument, I'm doing what your detractors are going to do. You have to be prepared for that.
But why don't you
let
them?
It's training.
But this is
training.
This is part of the problem. So you're a black man, a black woman's telling you there's an issue, and you're trying to find holes in that issue.
You're completely ignoring what I'm saying.
No, I'm not.
I kind of with them because that's what I'm hearing as well.
No, because instead. But you know what I think? I think if you approach it in a way that's sympathetic. Because that's what the thing is. You're not looking at it from their point of view. And that's always going to be the problem. Until we start looking at each other from each other's point of view, then we're going to have this problem.
But I think your approach is what you do when you're in a debate with someone, fine. But like I said, if someone's talking about an issue, a cause, and you're saying, I'm trying to find holes in your argument or chinks in your armor.
Men are trash, is that a cause then? Is that cool?
No, but it's part of a wider conversation. They're talking about other things.
There's context. There's context to that.
Because you're just holding on to that one line.
We're not talking about the context now, but there is context to that statement.
Okay, so with regards to that, they not call me the feminist, They call me the feminist.
I don't think you deserve that title.
Thank you very much.
Maybe not today.
Thank you, but I think I'm more with I just deal with equality, So I deal with equalness, So the same way that if you want me to tell my brothers when I think they're doing something wrong, which I will go out and do, and these guys will tell you, I will be the first to tell them that is wrong. Yes, I should also be equally amount to tell my sisters when I think you're doing something wrong. Hold on, let me finish talking. No, but it is for me. The reason why I say that is because I think that it's problematic what you're doing. I don't think that you're benefiting anyone. But I say the same way I think that when black men say these black girls are shit, I would really date a white girl. Are you crazy? Blah blah blah. That for me is very problematic because you're putting into the brain and into the atmosphere that black women are shit. You will never date a black woman. You will never get that. And that then equals the comeback what you got with these black women now saying, well, these men are trash. Look how they're talking about us. Look how they don't have our back. Look how they don't have our situations. So it counteracts each other. But I'm not going to tell him that what he's doing is wrong and then tell you what you're doing is fine. I'm going to tell you that what you're doing is wrong as well.
But we're not asking you to say that it's fine. We're just saying focus on what the issue is.
That is the issue, though.
Bruv, just don't talk. Just don't say nothing.
That is the issue.
But you know, I think you should talk. But I think you need to see it from the woman's point of view.
The way I see it, there's no point in talking because if you don't agree with what's being said, it's a problem.
But
we're not talking to listen, and it's not a conversation. We're not talking to listen here. People are saying stuff, and if you don't agree with what they're saying, you're an issue.
Also, again, that's not all women. That's not all black women. This is just a small percentage.
Yeah, it's a small percentage. But I'm talking about this online movement thing and the people that are the most vocal online. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that there is a difference between the people that are vocal online and the people that are active in actually trying to make changes. I know that there's a difference between those two, and that is even more partly why I'd stop bother to interact anymore.
They do overlap sometimes.
They do overlap sometimes. Don't get me wrong, but like it's more of the reason why I don't bother. And like, so a lot of the stuff I agree with, a lot of the stuff I can see the point of view. Some of the stuff I listen to and I think, well, that's a weak argument, but I know that there's just no point sitting in. There's no point.
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you understand why women feel this way? Do you understand why black?
I just said to you. I just gave you an example as to why I would understand why a black woman would say black men are trash, but it is not the right way to go about the situation for me. I do not think that you should fight
for you
in this situation.
As a black man.
Is it benefiting you doing this? Do you think
but I'm not doing it.
I'm talking about black women in general. Do you think that it's benefiting black women to say black men are trash, black men are shit? Some people have said stuff like, hold on, some people have gone as far to say, you know what, I don't give a fuck about black men's mental health. Fuck them. I've heard people say stuff like that.
That one really bothered you?
It bothered me, bruv. Because black men are one of the biggest number of people that will commit suicide. It's known. But anyway, let's just leave that there. But as I said, is it for me, I do not see the benefit of what?
Clash back in it if you talk about it.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Don't worry, just carry on.
But so then,
Mr. Wolf, just don't forget to say your piece. As
I said, I just think to myself, it doesn't. I don't know where it's going to get you. Do you understand? If I knew where it's going to get you, I'll be all right.
But you're talking to people that are not part of that group that are saying...
I'm not asking you directly, but you're telling me that I shouldn't be saying to them. So I'm
just trying to explain to you, these are people that are hurt. These are people that are going through their experience, and this is what they're saying. So I understand why they're saying it. So that's all I'm saying.
So do you understand me?
You also find women that haven't gone through that pain and that hardship with a man, and they've listened to other women's plight, and then they'll jump on the bandwagon as well.
Which women are those?
Well, there are women out there in the social media world.
That's not a productive question to keep asking. You get me? Tell me who you're talking about.
We know that you are not part of the movement.
Tumisha said that yesterday.
I don't think there's any woman that's saying that, black men are trash that haven't had experience.
There are women out there, trust me.
Why would they say it?
Well, this is a question.
It's fashionable.
There you go.
Fashionable.
For me,
I don't think you can speak on that though.
Right now,
we know that.
So as women, and within a women's community or whatever, that's not what we're hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us what you're hearing.
About what?
What you said that you know what you're hearing. So what
we are hearing that black women are fed up. They're fed up, and I think now they're willing to say that they're fed up, and they're holding black men accountable for things that have happened in the past and their behaviour. That's what I've been seeing, and some of those women have been saying it by saying all black men are trash. Some women are saying that black men, you need to do better. You need to support us. It's just different ways of saying things.
I mean, Mr. Wolf has no problem with that. And I have no issue with women voicing their discontent to men that have fucked up. Yeah. You get me? Mm-hmm. But what I do and what I have always done is try to balance that up as well. Not to discount what black women have been going through, but I will elevate my black brothers. You get me? And I will always talk about what is good about the black man.
But there's black women that are doing that too here.
I have no problem with that, but this is what Mr. Wolf would do. So I'm like Simple Simon. When I see or hear about those kind of things, it kind of goes over my head because I'm not going to discount what's happened again. but I'm not about the negativity. I see so many good black men around me. I see so many black men that are doing amazing things, and I will push that to the forefront as much as I can. So there are some women out there that are on this black men are trash thing, all black men are trash thing, and there are some black men that are trash. But let me tell you this.
Can I just say there's quite a few black men that are on this black women that are trash. It's the same side.
And that's fine. So it's down.
The way you want to uplift black women, I want to uplift black men.
I want to uplift black women as well.
But there's also going to be black men that are literally, their role is to put down the black woman.
To destroy them.
Exactly. So it's.
I understand that.
But fight each other, innit?
These different groups exist. I'm just saying is that you're starting to see is that group of black women that are saying that black men are trash. They're very vocal on social media.
What I'm saying is that when I have come out and I've spoke about what is good about the black men in that type of environment, I get shut down.
Yeah, because it's an environment where people are talking about how they've been mistreated by black men, and you're coming in and saying, "Well,
I'm not."
You know
no,
what I mean?
There's no well and there's no buts. It's all about I understand your plight, but here
you just put a but there.
I understand your plight. There are black men equally that are good.
So how do black women want to be supported in this? That's the question.
It's
a good question.
It's a very good question.
Let them answer it. Let the black women answer it.
Don't
answer for them.
Don't
do it. Please don't do it.
What I will say and what I have heard in
but there's two here. Let them talk.
The black women.
I know.
Before you sway them, though, bro. Let them.
I'm not gonna sway them.
Let him say it.
Say my point.
Go for it, man. Jeez. He knows some black women.
I know black women. What I have heard and what I have got from black women, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, is empathy. You get me? Empathy and understanding and listening to what they've gone through. And rather than put some kind of negative ingredients in what they're saying, they just want you to listen and try to take in. Me telling that black men are good? That is not negative.
No, you put if on butts. That's what they said.
Nah,
but anyway, let's hear from them.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
All right, so
let them. See what I'm saying? Now you're asking them to do your question. Let them say what they want to say.
Well, I agree with you, and that's what I said to you with that comment on Twitter, that your approach, that was actually the wrong approach because you weren't sympathizing.
You was going in there to correct them.
Yeah.
Yes, and they should be correct.
And I think we spoke about this last week a little bit.
So
as well,
you only want empathy. So you want us to be saying yes, the trash. Yes, the trash.
No, we're talking about a specific situation here. Yeah. You have to look at the context. We don't know the context of that tweet. Yeah. Oh, black men are trash. What came before that?
Yeah. Oh, we were talking about Black Panther. Basically, easy.
What?
We were talking about Black Panther.
And then
we were talking about how Stavros on one of the podcasts was talking about how the black women were holding down the black men in Black Panther.
Yeah.
And then suddenly this came from nowhere because
it did come from nowhere.
Because the black man is trash.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're actually talking about a good thing, and they turned it negative.
That's such a weird.
They turned it negative, and I was like, "But why? Why?"
Okay.
So that's one person.
I would like to still let them answer that question.
If you let me, if somebody lets me talk, brother. All right. So the question was asked by Simple Simon: what is it that black women want from black men in support for their struggle? Now that will be the last question.
Okay.
And the men will not answer.
Okay.
The ladies, unfortunately, Mo and Jay, you are gonna talk for the on behalf of the millions,
all black women,
millions of black women around the world.
That's fine.
You're like I'm not fine with that.
And then we will do our church notes, our goodbyes, and go. So, I want you two to talk like it's on your own podcast and just spend 4 or 5 minutes discussing what you want from black men, where you feel we're lacking, and just in general what you want to talk about. We will sit here quietly as your audience, and hopefully us black men can listen to what black women have to say.
Well, hello, one.
Okay.
Why are you putting it on me, fam?
If anyone's going to interrupt,
I'm from the feminist. I listen to all women.
You're trash. You're trash.
Well, it's not an easy question.
Of course.
It's
Do
not.
you want me to start?
Yeah, you start.
I think going back to
Mr. Wolf's
point, it is about listening and having and having empathy, and instead of using that energy to come and tell us what we're doing wrong, go and use that energy to go and talk to your black brothers that are not doing the right thing. That's literally it.
Okay.
Listen, learn, take the information, and then go and spread the word around your brotherhood of black men. Okay. Very simple.
So that's Mo.
Yeah.
Jay?
Step into black women's shoes. I don't know how you do that, but you need to see things from their perspective, and you need to look at the history as well. Things, not just things that have happened in the last 10 years, but everything that goes back. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a whole history behind it.
There's a whole history behind it. And even the current situation as well with black women.
We're still going through it.
Still going through things. And let's look at, rates of marriage and relationship rates for black women, and look at all the statistics. So I think you just need to look at it from their perspective. You need to step into their shoes and see how that works. I think maybe that's a good place to start.
And then also going back to Wahala's point, where people are being hurt, they're being oppressed, they are going to strike out against you, but don't take it so personal. Just take it as these people need help. So if it was say a victim, you wouldn't see it as okay, I need to disagree or shout at them, but you'll see it as okay, how can I help you? You're coming from a hurt place.
Boy, you don't know me. She's talking to me.
Yeah, open your mouth. You done, ladies?
Yeah, I think that's it.
It's a shame. It's a shame because I actually wanted to move on to relationship stuff, and you just touched on it.
We'll move on to it.
Listen, I don't want. Podcast is too long. The podcast is now just. If we wrap it up now, it will be 2 hours.
Oh wow!
Can we just say that one thing though?
It goes quick, doesn't it?
Can we just say one thing? Because I think that sometimes women need to hear this. Yeah.
Go on.
Please do. No, because you mentioned.
Well, you see, okay, that's the first thing. Don't start a sentence with saying women need to hear this.
No, they do, because you don't even know what I'm going to say next.
Okay. It doesn't.
Okay,
really.
All right, because you said it several times. I mean, I've heard it several times, and you actually just said it today. Black men do actually talk to each other about when they do bad things to other black women. We do it. It's not a case that we don't do it. It's just that we are not as public.
Yeah.
As maybe I think some women would like us to be, so they can see that we've done it. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times when you don't talk to your. You said it now. I would like you to listen and talk to your brothers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that all of us here would say that there's been times when one of us has done something that's wrong, at least, and we've said, "No, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that." And I think that we've done that with other people outside. And I see a lot of boys. Did you tell each other when they've done something wrong?
Yeah, but are they telling the woman they've done something wrong?
What do you mean? No, we're talking. You asked me to tell the man.
Yeah.
When they've done something wrong. So I'm going to tell you've done something wrong.
Oh, in that sense.
Yeah, so we talk to your brothers, you say, basically. Tell them that they're doing wrong.
But can I just say then, so where you inserted yourself into that conversation and to defend black men, you did that publicly because that was online. So why don't you do that as also to call out other black men that are doing things wrong?
I do all the time.
So then that's public. That's enough.
No, I do that all the time. But then as I said, if I'm doing that, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be equal. If I'm going to do it to the man,
but we're not.
I'm going to do it to the woman as well.
Because we're not equal. There's an imbalance here. So that's what we're saying. Rather than coming to battle us, why don't you just use that energy to go?
So only beat one side. Don't beat the other.
Then you can come back to us and have this argument when things are equal, but things are not equal.
Okay. Okay. All right.
You know you want to say something.
No.
It's a difficult question.
Yeah. No, I would love to continue the conversation. It's just we run out of time. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, I would love to continue on. I'm sure the listeners would love us to continue.
No, continue on. No, that's not the problem. I don't get it.
I just told myself off for letting the thing run too long all the time. So I'm not going to make that same mistake.
So now you're going to just disrupt good conversation.
But this kind of conversation will just go on. Yeah, it's not one of them conversations that has a resolution. Yeah,
maybe we can come back and have the conversation about black women in relationships.
Well, maybe we can have it on your podcast.
Oh yeah, come. Yeah, it's true.
All right, we're gonna say our church notes and our socials, and then be on our way. We will finish the way we started. Big Wahala.
At Big Wahala on Insta. At Big Wahala on Twitter.
Simple Simon.
At Simple Simon FB on Twitter. I have no Instagrams. I'm gonna shout out a book before I even got the book to read, which is not the way to do it. But I've had it on good report.
Forte.
On good authority that the book is wicked. It's by a Carla. It's
I've heard.
I want to read that.
Called Natives. I've got my book on order. I'm just waiting for it to land on the mat.
Can't wait
but
to read that.
definitely go out and purchase that book. I'm saying so based off of an interview that I saw with Akala and James O'Brien on a show called Unfiltered. It's online. You can see it. It's Joe Unfiltered. It's about an hour long, but the way that Akala gives a schooling in this interview, and it is based on the book, you know for sure that the book is going to live up to its praise based purely on that interview alone.
Okay.
So it talks about black people in Britain. It talks about racial inequality, but it done so from a metrics point of view. So there's numbers to back up all of the arguments that are put forward, and it gives a good history of the mentality of thinking about people in unfair ways, if that makes sense. I've really said that badly, but it's about thinking that how we think about people in unfair ways, and shows that race and class are almost as important as each other.
Okay.
You know that scene in Friday where the dude beats up the man or whatever, and then the dad comes and says, "You want some of this, old man?"
Yeah.
And the man says, "Nope," and turns away and walks away.
Yeah.
You know me, I'm a contrarian. I love debate. I love to argue. This is why the podcast is here. But Akala, I don't want it. I don't want it with him. If somebody said, "Do you want it with me, old man?" I'll be like, "Nope," because I know that.
It depends what you're arguing with him about, though.
No, it doesn't. Because
that's the thing.
One thing about Akala is he won't argue with you about something he knows nothing about.
Yeah.
Even in that interview,
You don't know the man personally, bro.
well, listen to what I'm going to say to you.
He actually said that
in the interview. He actually said it. At the end, there was a point in the interview where James O'Brien asked him about the
That's that light skin privilege, right?
or they touched on female.
No.
You see.
Akala, hashtag light skin privilege.
Wow.
And the irony is, he will tell you about that as well.
Yeah, I know he will tell you about it.
So they asked a question that was going into female empowerment and that struggle, and he actually said to the man, "Can't answer that question."
Oh, he's smart enough not to get involved with women, just the behaviour. That's a completely different kettle of fish there, brother.
All right, okay. Mr. Wolf.
AKA Mr. Wolf on Insta, AKA _ Mr. Wolf on Twitter, and I completely co-sign Simple Simon on that. Fantastic 1 hour of viewing. If you can go and watch your Charlemagne the Gods on flipping the Breakfast Club for 45 minutes, you can watch an hour of this. It's very insightful and fantastic viewing.
Okay, I'll put a link to it in the thing when you're listening to the thing.
And the Chimamanda and Trevor Noah interview.
Yeah,
yes.
Give us balance.
I'll put the link to the thing. The things there. All right. So who's ready to go first out of Mo and Jay? Seems like Mo is fully prepared. Yes, it was quick and easy, wasn't it? Mo.
Okay. So what I can just say.
You yes. Give us your social medias and plug whatever you want to plug. You know.
Okay. Well, you can find us at Colour Out the Box Podcast. We're on Instagram and Twitter and on Facebook. I keep forgetting that one. Listen to our podcast. You can find it on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, and any other podcasting platform.
It's on everything.
Yep. And then I just wanted to mention something. We are both going to Yvonne Orgy from Insecure and other things. She has a comedy show that she's headlining at the Soho Theatre.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what it's a comedy show.
Yeah, and it's called, what is it called? Nigeria Cool Again or something.
Yeah, Nigerians are cool again. I wasn't sure what it was.
Was she a comedian?
Yeah, she is.
Stand up.
She supported Chris Rock. So we're going to go and see her next month. Yep.
I see she's got man now.
Yeah, she's engaged.
Oh, so she can finally do the
And she's a virgin, isn't it?
Yeah, supposedly.
Yeah.
But
What do you mean
That's so
supposedly?
of course, I don't know. She told me. I don't know. I heard that 6 months ago. Do I know now what she's done?
Oh my God.
Even back then.
My favourite word, that's problematic.
What's I don't know, because I haven't spoken to her since.
Hold on, are you saying that just because somebody said that they're a virgin and you say supposedly, that's problematic?
Yeah, why are you saying supposedly?
Because I heard it 6 months ago when she had nothing involved. There was no man there. There was
I'm
nothing.
not even saying it like that. Should I just believe her just because that's what she said?
That's what I'm
Yes.
saying.
Yeah.
I'm a virgin then.
Yeah. Okay.
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 Children right in front of you.
All right.
I'm a virgin.
No, but why would you lie? Why
Linda,
would you say you're not a
listen,
virgin?
Linda, listen, Linda, listen, Linda, listen. You don't just believe what everybody tells you.
I believe it though.
Jay,
I actually
do
believe
believe
it.
her.
Jay, do you want to give us
So
your
socials, Colour Out the Box on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Plug.
What do I want to plug? A couple of shows. So Insecure is coming out. Season 3? Or 4?
Is it coming out already?
It's coming out
next
soon.
month.
Yeah, next month.
Oh, that's my program.
And
Have you
then
had the controversy over that, innit?
What?
'Cause
Let Jay finish and then come back to that.
controversy. Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
apparently it says they tease black men in
They
season
te-
3,
they
and
tease.
black men went.
And I've not
They
even
cried like
seen it.
babies.
They cried, but they haven't seen it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it was said that this season is there to like tease black men.
But they tease black men
Tease
through
black
season 1
men.
and 2.
Yeah.
Well, this one was specifically said that was going to happen. Sorry, Jay, you finish what you're saying.
So there's another show by the same creators as Be Mary Jane when it first started called Love Is. So that's coming out this month as well. Looking forward to watching that. So it's a guy. Do you remember those web series that Issa Rae used to work on?
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the people from that.
Okay,
are in the
awkward
show.
black girl.
No, but she was working on some other
Ah,
black
okay.
shows online.
I'm loving this
YouTube.
black creator space that people are making these days. I'm loving
Mm-hmm.
it. Loving it. Loving it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That-
what do you mean by tease? What?
That's just what it was. It was in brackets.
Probably saying men are trash.
Season 3 of Insecure teases black men.
Teases black
I didn't read
men.
the story. I didn't go into the article.
Okay.
I saw
You
that.
just read the
I
headline.
saw that. I went past it. Blah blah blah. A day later, or whatever. I saw the black men are upset over Insecure.
What do you think about Issa Rae cussing Kanye West in front of his own wife's face?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's peak out here. If it's a man thing, that would have been a beef thing. Can you imagine somebody could cuss your wife in front of you while you're standing there on the
She's
stage?
a comedian.
No, she cussed the husband in front of the wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
What,
saying if
she
you're a
could-
man,
what?
man to man, if somebody was cussing your wife on stage like that, would you just sat down and did nothing?
What? She's a comedian. That's
Yeah.
she's,
Nah, you don't. I don't care what you are.
What?
You don't talk about my wife.
Oh
No.
nah.
Sorry, last question. I ask all the guests this question. From your experience this
Guest list.
evening,
Yeah.
would you say that Wahala is aggressive?
Yeah, you've asked one person this question
No,
ever.
Literally, he's shouting. So yeah. So,
You've
yeah,
asked
I
one
would.
person this question
I've
ever.
asked 2 people. I've asked 2 sets of guests.
Oh my
How-
god!
so-
Bruv,
Okay,
you need,
okay,
He's
okay,
not
okay.
aggressive.
you need
Thank
therapy, man.
One
Just
says
calm
no,
down.
one says yes. Were you joking or are you being serious?
No, I'm being serious.
You
Okay,
think I'm
alright.
aggressive?
I think you put your
he
point
says it in an
across
aggressive manner.
aggressively.
No,
Exactly.
no, I don't think so. I don't
Yeah,
think
but I'm not intimidated by it.
That's not
so.
aggressive.
See, and that's the stereotype that he was talking about when he was saying about black women. What did you say about
No,
the
but
black
I'm
women?
not talking about all men. I'm talking about just you.
Yeah, but I'm a black man, so me being loud is now being looked at to be aggressive. Therapy. You see it there?
Okay.
Okay.
Problematic.
All right. I am Stavros Boss. You can catch me at Stavros Boss on all social medias.
It sounded like you were about to start rhyming out here,
I
bro.
am Stavros Boss in the place to
Someone
be.
did rap at the beginning. It was
Simple Simon.
Simon. Yeah.
Yes, he did some Pusha T lyrics.
Oh,
Ain't nobody gonna
is that
find
what
you
it
on no
was?
social
Oh.
media.
Yeah, Nas is coming out this Friday, by the way. So
Who?
that's the next one on the Nas.
Oh, I'm not a friend of Nas at the moment.
Anymore,
Oh,
innit?
yeah.
Anymore,
False
yeah,
prophet.
for
I
real.
forgot about that. I
False
forgot about that.
prophet.
Yeah.
Is it? Are we locking off Nas as well then?
Just you locked
Women ain't
off.
locking off now.
Have you locked off R. Kelly, right?
Yeah.
Have you locked off Kanye
Wait,
West?
hold on. You didn't say
innit?
yes.
Jay, you're
Well,
with me on this
okay,
one.
wait, no, listen.
I said it so confidently.
Wait,
like,
listen.
yes, we have.
I still have his CDs, so I don't know.
You're not buying anything new though.
I'm not buying anything new.
Do you
Well,
still
you
step
play
in the
the
name
It
of
whole
love?
doesn't have anything new.
Do you still step in the name of love?
I don't.
I never really liked that song.
Okay,
I
but
don't.
if R.
That's a
Kelly
wedding
comes on
song, man.
somewhere, would you stop dancing or would
Yeah.
you carry
I
on?
don't know.
That's
yet.
you.
So
Don't
if
know.
you heard it's the remix to Ignition,
Oh, I never liked that song. No, I'm like more.
you never like Ignition.
Do you
I'm like the early '90s stuff.
Foreplay. And
The only
Yeah,
song
yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of
12.
The
I
New
struggle
Jack City
with
stuff.
is Vibe, but even that one I won't do it now. I won't dance.
Just
You won't
know,
even tap
when you
your
hear Vibe, you know who he's vibing with.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I just want that in your head. Young girls, isn't it?
yeah. All those girls are
Oh,
young girls.
God.
Anybody that listens to any R. Kelly songs, whenever he says something that is in any
That's
way
not
sexual,
true.
I want you to think of him with a young girl, and
Yeah.
I want you to
Every
understand
single song.
every time. So if
Yeah.
it's the remix to Ignition, banging
Yeah.
12 years in the kitchen, I want you to you
Yeah.
to hear this, yeah. And he's vibing with young chicks. That's what I want. Anyways, like I said, I'm Stavros Boss. You can catch me at Stavros Boss everywhere. This week on Stavros Says, which is the section where I recommend something. It is an album from a South African artist, a singer called Shekhinah. The album is called Rose Gold.
Okay.
Have you heard of her before?
No.
I hadn't heard of this woman. I was going through my Guam thing. Have you heard of Guam before?
Guam?
It's a South African, it's like house music basically, but it's like a stripped down South African version of house.
Okay.
I'm a big house fan, so I love that. So I was going through YouTube, just consuming all the I'm not pronouncing the word properly, by the way. The South Africans always cuss me when I say it, but I'm just going to say Guam. There's a in the word.
Oh,
yeah, I can't do it. I can't
One
do
of
it.
those.
So
Guam.
I just have to just admit it's right. So I was going through that, and this R&B artist came into the feed because, well, clearly this guy likes South African music. Let's give him more. And they gave me something, and the song was different. So that's the first song I heard from her, and it was fantastic. And then I thought, I'm not a big R&B fan, but I thought, let me listen to the album. The album is wicked. I can listen to it from beginning to end. 14 songs. It's short. It's like 40-something minutes, but it's good. She was on the South African version of like X Factor. She was South African Idol. She went there, I think 2011 or something, flopped out. She was very young. She's only 23 now. She went back about 4 or 5 years later. She got to the last 6 or something, or the last 4. You know, usually it's the person that doesn't win that is the breakthrough. And I think she was the one. She didn't win.
What's her name again?
Shekhinah. Let me spell it. It's SHEKHINAH. The album is called Rose Gold. You can find it on your streaming things. It's there. And she's just got this voice. It's very different. She doesn't sound South African, but I thought she might have been British at first, because you know when British people sing with an American accent, but she's just really good, and I just want to support her. So and she won a bunch of awards in the South African Music Awards earlier this month as well. She won 3, like best album, best newcomer, best everything. So go support her.
Okay.
All right. So you can catch us collectively at Eloquently Saying Nothing on Facebook, or at ESN Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to send any questions in, most of the questions today basically were sent in, so thank you for those. You can send us you can send those to us on all our social medias, or you can email us at esnpodcast on gmail.com. And what else that? If you want to join in the conversation with us on social media, use the hashtag ESNpod. Please check out Color Out the Box from Mo and Jay. Although Jay is only sometimes there, you know, she's like one of them black men she's like one of them black men in a child's life, just sometime-ish.
She pops in every now and then.
Oh, you laugh at that stereotype. If it was a woman thing though, you wouldn't laugh, would you?
I didn't think that was funny.
One quick big up as well. Big up off the cuff for they got 3 years into the game. 3-year anniversary. So big them up, because we know how hard it is to do that achievement right there.
Yes, well done, well done.
So so big them up, big up Off the Cuff podcast. Congratulations on the 3 years, man.
Yeah, and we see you guys growing. We're very proud of you.
And support also, Griff as well. Griff is going to be doing. I think he's going to be trying to do something for BBC Radio 4 with regards to going into one of their comedy awards.
It was a competition that he's in. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I don't know what the name of the competition is, Griff, if you said something, kid, I'll bring it out.
He's going up to, is it Scotland?
Yeah, but big up Griff. Griff's a friend of the show. So
do you just want to big up every podcast?
Big up Griff, man. Big up man like Griff, man. I've got time for both podcasts.
Well, big up Wavy from Not Everyday Pod as well. There was a question about Tommy Robinson that he wanted us to answer, but we ran out of time, unfortunately.
Okay.
You know, there's some rights thing about him, so unfortunately, so Wavy, we ran out of time, but hopefully that thing is still relevant next week. It's not a correct time.
And big up all the people that went on Grapevine as well, so for the UK, representing for us.
Yeah,
the UK.
definitely.
You just want to be on the next one.
Yeah.
No.
Well, okay.
On the next show. I always said that you'd have to go on that show, bro.
Can I ask you guys a question very quickly? Grapevine UK.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that you two would be wonderful on it. So we're just going to exclude you out of the conversation. We would want you on the next time.
Yeah.
But if you watch, do you watch this thing? Yeah. Because I don't watch Grapevine.
I've seen a couple.
Have you seen the American one?
No, I haven't seen the American one.
All right.
No.
So okay then, Jane, you can remove yourself from this conversation.
Yeah.
If one of us had to go to represent the podcast,
the podcast.
Yeah, we're going to be on a show. You know the type of things they talk about. You know the angle they come at it from.
Yeah.
If one of us was going to go and you were our manager, so you said, so you want us to succeed. It's like you might think this person's the funniest or this person's the best, but who would you say this is the best person to go on this show for that audience that they have?
I'm going to pick 2 people.
Go on.
I would say for the sound bites, entertainment, and that kind of thing, things that might go viral.
Yeah.
Send Wahala. if you want someone that's maybe going to not damage your brand, don't send Wahala.
Don't send me that. You didn't even pick somebody else. You just said, don't send me.
Yeah, don't send him.
No, but she's still sending you.
I'll send you if you want it to go viral and get great clickbait and all those kind of things. Definitely send him.
So
who's the second person?
And Simple Simon to send someone that maybe will debate and have a conversation.
You'll fit into that
yeah,
crowd well.
Definitely.
Wow. Okay, I'm glad you. Jay, do you want to try and answer, even though you don't know this grapevine? But
I would say.
Don't just copy your friends.
Wahala and Mr. Wolf. Or Big Wahala and Mr. Wolf.
What reasons would you send them to?
Well, for the same reasons.
Yeah.
But just, yeah.
You would swap Simple Simon and Mr. Wolf, but for exactly the same reason.
Yeah.
So I still think we should send Stav.
I told you I'm not needed. I'm not needed there.
I think that if you go there, you will get in a lot more trouble than if I went there.
I'm not needed. Yeah, I would.
I want the flashback. I want the smoke.
No,
I want all the smoke.
But the thing is, I would say to send Stav for he will definitely create a controversy, but I also think you'd react with other people. So nothing bothers you. So it wouldn't.
Everything bothers him.
Yeah, because he'll be just like, "Oh, I'm not bothered." But I think they would get more of a reaction.
Okay, well, that's very interesting. I'm glad we got an outsider's point of view.
Yeah.
She also feels you're aggressive as well. We're gonna end on that note. So thank you very much for tuning in to Eloquently Saying Nothing, episode 76. Thank you for Call Out the Box podcast for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
That is another episode. We are out.
Remember, if you ain't saying nothing, say it well.
Slag for life. Shout out Webslinger, the actor.
Listen.
Peace.
Listen, we're gonna put a poll up on this Twitter thing to see what happens. Because I don't like the way I've just been.
No. I'm just gonna ask.
You're meant to be my boy. Are you the one that's putting it out there?
No, you have to.
It's always your boy, man. He's going through therapy.
What did you say?
To be clear, I'm not intimidated by you. I'm just saying, you was putting your point across quite aggressively.
But how? Because I'm passionate about the way I feel.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
This is what I'm saying. They want you to be passionate about certain things. They don't want you to be passionate about other things. You don't have to talk to anybody.
He feels so. Okay, you're defending.
Yeah, I know.